From our Highly Mazda of Arlington and Hearst studios, this is Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan.
Good morning, DFW. Sean and RJ, 105.3 The Fan. That is not Chris Arnold. That is Bobby Belt. Peyton Russell here, and it is a Thursday morning on The Fan. Good morning, Bobby.
A thirsty Thursday. Good morning, Ralph. Thursday. Good morning, Peyton. Okay, Peyton. Don't
say that. Don't say.
Boy, normally we can't get him to shut up. Now he just oh yeah, that's right. It's right. Thursday's prepping for the payload.
Yeah, he's still prepping for the payload at 6:40 today. It's his last segment of the entire week. It actually pays 10-2. But you said it is a Thirsty Thursday, and you could probably go get some Thirsty Thursday drinks from 2 to 7 today, Bobby Bell.
Not only Thirsty Thursday drinks, you can get a special edition glass. To pour those drinks in. So the G-Bag Nation is going to be out for a full show today from 2 to 7 p.m. Out at Hurtado Barbecue in Mansfield. We, of course, are going to be out at Hurtado Barbecue on Saturday. That'll be the one in Arlington. We'll be out there for Fan Bowl. Today they'll be at the one in Mansfield, Peyton Russell's old neck of the woods.
Look at that.
M-Town.
And they will have M-Town. Again, that's not a thing. Nobody has ever said M-Town when talking about.
I lived there for 20 years, Bobby.
Literally no one said it, did
they?
They?
Yes, they did.
You can join the G-Bag Nation out there, though, today at Hurtado Barbecue, their Mansfield location. That is 226 North Walnut Creek Drive. They're going to be there, and I'm going to be there. 2 to 3 p.m. I'm going to be out there hanging out with the boys. I don't know if I'm going to pop on the air with them or not, but I'm going to be there. So I'll at least be hanging out for that hour. Yeah, exactly, doing that. And they will be giving away some of those special edition G-Bag Nation etched glasses, those chalices as they call them.
Yes,
so if you Stella Artois. So if you want to get a G-Bag Nation inscribed or etched glass from Stella Artois that you can then bring with you on Saturday when we're all partying at Fan Bowl. Registration is full, by the way, for Fan Bowl.
Yeah, it is.
But
you can still come out and party.
No more spaces, but that's not the point. The point is come out there and party. And you can party whether you're playing or not. So, that'll be your G-Bag Nation today. I'm going to be there from 1 to 7. It's going on from 1 to 7. I'm going to be there the whole time.
Oh, my God.
In fact, there's the question today. If you've got the Odyssey app, pop it on. You can leave those messages on there. Tell us who's going to be the last host at the station to show up at this thing and why. Let us know who you think is going to be.
Well, it might be me.
Tell us in a funny way who's going to show up last and why. Like normally I would feel like people would default to me because they'd be like, Bobby's always late, clearly.
No, yeah, you're for the event, you would be the first. Yeah, it's a good question. Dawson might be last. Or Dawson might be first and then leave first.
Yeah, Dawson's the meme from The Simpsons where the grandpa comes into the club, puts his hat on the rack, takes a spin, and then grabs the hat and walks back out.
Yeah.
So that's it. I could definitely see this being Bassick, just being like, oh, yeah, I forgot we had that going on, and popping at 5. But let us know on the Odyssey app. You can leave us a message. But lots going on. Fan Bowl this weekend, and Mansfield location for Hurtado today, 2 to 7 p.m., the G-Bag Nation. And I myself will be out there from 2 to 3 if you want to come tell me what an idiot I am.
Tons of Olympic updates to get to today during Pedal to the Metal.
6:40, right?
That's the payload is 6:40.
Oh, it's Thursday.
7 o'clock today. We moved it to 7 o'clock just for Peyton.
Okay.
Peyton changing the entire schedule of the show with a stupid little segment that I love. I love his segment.
Stupid little
that's
segment.
What I call it that. Speaking of stupid little segments, let's do Bobby's Love of the Star here.
From news and
Inside
notes
the
to the
Star.
coaches and players for America's team, let us go inside the Star on 105.3 The Fan.
That's right. Inside the Star.
Love
is
of the
awesome.
Star is a stupid little podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It is stupid.
Hey, it's not that stupid. Greg Rosenthal likes it. 3 million downloads. Lots of great about it. Yeah, check out Inside the Star. Love the Star as well. But Inside the Star, you could say, is my segment too. I'll gladly take that if you want to credit it to me, Chop. But we've got some Cowboys updates and then a couple of big NFL updates, including a conference rival getting a little bit weaker. It sounds like, and a quite controversial kicker standing on business.
Standing on
business.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what it sounded like. I don't know what standing on business would mean other than what Harrison Butker was doing yesterday. So before we get to that, Cowboys do have a joint practice with the Rams today. Yesterday was the mock game, which every time you see that on the schedule, don't you look at it and go like, oh, this is going to be a more intense practice, a mock game? They're going to go through
you
game
think.
situation. Nope. Mock game is, hey, just line up like you're where you're supposed to be and then jog. And so they're all wearing bucket hats. They're not even wearing, a lot of them have shorts on and no helmets and just backwards hats.
It's so bad.
It's legitimately it is exactly what it sounds like. You're mocking the game of football.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes, this was, now they didn't call it this under Jason Garrett. But I remember like moments that they had that when Garrett was here. They had walkthroughs. They had they had a morning walkthrough, and then they had an afternoon practice.
What would you think if they did that again next year?
If they did that,
Yeah, instead of the McCarthy practice schedule. Would you love that?
No, that was the worst.
That was one of the things Choppy kept saying while we were out at Oxnard last week was, please God, don't let them ever go back to the Garrett practice schedule while we're out here.
It was so bad. It was so intrusive. But like they used to say, like I first noticed this, and it was Brandon Whedon. He came out in this giant bucket hat, like not like a little one. I'm talking one that was like you would use
Pharrell like.
No, like bigger, like one that I wear when I mow my lawn. Just one of those big shade ones, right? The straw hats, but his was like, like a fishing kind of that Columbia fishing material.
Like if you dropped a mesh netting down from the bottom of it, he'd look like a beekeeper.
You absolutely look like a beekeeper. So I was like, man, this is not football. So and that's what the mock game is.
No, but we are going to get maybe the most football-like practice of training camp today, RJ Choppy, because they are getting a joint practice with the Los Angeles Rams ahead of their game with them this weekend, a game you can hear right here on 105 through the Fan.
We're still the home of the Cowboys?
Still the home of the Dallas Cowboys. I've heard promos about it on other stations reminding you that we're the home of the Dallas Cowboys. But the Cowboys do have a joint practice with the Rams today. And what does that usually mean, RJ Choppy?
It means fights, baby.
Fights. Not this year.
What?
Not this year.
Really? I'll
McCarthy,
believe it when I see it.
Mike McCarthy is laying down the law and is informing players there better not be a single fight out here at practice. McCarthy was asked about fights breaking out in the joint practices between the Giants and the Lions, which we'll circle back to this here in just a second. I know you had a concerning note. You were concerned after seeing the Giants and Lions fight the other day. It made you concerned for the NFC East future.
Well, I'm concerned because Malik Neighbors is going to be a problem.
He's a dog.
He's going to be a problem for both the Giants and for the rest of the NFL.
CeeDee Lamb shared a video of Malik Neighbors making a play on his Instagram story the other day.
Gosh.
And he's like, Lil Bro Tough or something with like one of those breathing in emojis. So, I mean, does that mean that CeeDee wants to play for the Giants? Is that what we're hearing?
Did they go to the same? I don't think they
didn't even go to the same school.
Pretty sure that OU and LSU are not the same place.
Nope, not the same place.
I mean, they're in the same conference now.
Same conference.
But
What
they're
up,
not.
boy?
They weren't then. They weren't then.
Exactly.
But so he gets into a fight with the Lions at a practice that the teams were holding. Like, so he's a little bit of a hothead. He will go at you. But he also caught 17 of the 18 passes thrown his way during the joint practice.
I do love training camp stats. I can't wait to get into the stats being kept for Jalen Hurts at camp at 720.
I know. Now, because like I have no idea. Were these screen passes? Were they down the field?
What I want to know.
Who's keeping track of this?
We'll get into it. I don't want to ruin my, because I'll go off on a tangent on this one. But
right.
Mike McCarthy was asked about the fights that were breaking out in other joint practices across the league. And he and Rams head coach Sean McVay agree they're not going to tolerate it. Mike McCarthy says it's a waste of time. I don't want guys fighting. That's not toughness. It's lack of discipline. We want the work to get to that emotional edge to push each other, but you've got to handle these spots. That's all the part of the emotional challenge in the game of football. I'm not looking for that. I know Sean's not looking for it either. There's no concern. We want to have a hell of a practice. That's why we're working together, and I think the work Thursday will be great. McCarthy also praised Sean McVay, said, I like the way Sean runs his program. We talked early in the spring about working together. McCarthy's comments came before news broke that the NFL fined the Lions and the Giants $200,000 each for their joint practice fights. McCarthy sounds confident that his team won't find similar trouble. That is from Pro Football Talk. So here's what I think is a little funny about that. I agree the idea of like, hey, that's a lack of discipline. I like in theory what that sounds like. Garrett's one who, I don't know that he would have publicly said get into a fight, and he may have even publicly said don't. I think Garrett kind of liked it.
You think so?
Yes, because what was Garrett big on? You would hear it during mic'd up segments or all or nothing, something like that. The juice. He's like, the juice is good.
Like PEDs? No,
not like that. I mean,
OJ?
No, not that. I mean, he was good too. The juice is loose in a lot of ways. But the idea of he would always say the juice is good. Like you want that edge, you want that energy. And McCarthy's talking about you definitely want the emotional edge, but stop short, show discipline. I get it. But to me, if a fight breaks out at this camp, it's not the worst thing. It shows competitiveness, Chop.
Is Jason Garrett more old school than Mike McCarthy?
Ooh. I think it depends on what we're talking about. In certain ways, it's definitely McCarthy. In other ways, it's Garrett. In terms of
practice habits, it's Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett is definitely much more Coach Boone from Remember the Titans.
He's two-a-days. Oh, look, Sean Shreve was just on NBC.
Oh, yeah. He told me he was going to be on there. I forgot about that.
Two-a-days. Garrett had two-a-days every day.
Two-a-days.
And, Mike doesn't. But then again,
Garrett's practices were harder, I felt like.
Yes. Although I don't know that 2 days are allowed anymore. I think the new CBA, because you have an 11-hour rule.
But that is also the thing. They would do a practice and then they would, like you mentioned earlier, they'd back in with a walkthrough, which technically they could get away with.
Even still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you can fit into that day. Because there does reach the point, we heard it all the time.
It's an 11-hour day.
You'd reach the end of the practice.
And they say coaches have to leave.
Coaches, you must leave the field. All coaches leave the field. And then they would have to scamper off the field because they're not allowed to be on there anymore. It's the end of the workday. Can only practice up to a certain point before the coaches can be out there working the players. So they have to just leave the field to avoid all impropriety. Brandon Aiyuk, RJ Choppy. Boy, this thing just keeps...
This is weird.
Turning and turning. So
I don't understand this at all. I don't get what he's doing.
Various reports we've heard to this point.
So the way it was he had a choice between Cleveland and New England.
Yeah, that those trades were worked out. If you would agree to a contract deal, get it done. Patriots apparently, San Francisco had been offering him around $25 million a year. There are reports that the Patriots were willing to pay him up to $32 million a year, which would put him that puts him at AJ Brown level and getting close to Justin Jefferson, which I think is way above what people thought. He rejects the Patriots trade. That's how little he wants to be there. Doesn't sound like he's interested in the Browns.
He doesn't want to live in Cleveland, or he doesn't play in Cleveland, and he doesn't want to play or live in Boston with the Patriots. Now, the Patriots have a quarterback.
Can't blame him for not wanting to live in Boston.
I mean, yes. Cleveland too. Although Cleveland's great in the summertime, but, he is not playing football in the summertime.
Sure.
So, what are you going to do? It's a referendum, I think, because usually you play where the quarterback is. It's a referendum on Deshaun Watson.
Madden said he was a 75.
Yeah, right.
Russell Wilson was a point ahead of him at 76 in Pittsburgh.
Do you want to go to Pittsburgh? If you don't want to play in Cleveland, fine. You really want to, and you don't want to play in Boston, fine. You really want to play in Pittsburgh? The weather's the same.
The two places he was willing to go apparently were Pittsburgh and Washington. That's where he wanted to go. And
I don't get it. I don't get why you would want to go to Pittsburgh. They don't. You're going to leave an offensive juggernaut and a quarterback to get you the football for a offensive cavern.
Players love Mike Tomlin. I wonder if there's something for him there that he really likes about Tomlin. But it sounds like we're closing in, getting closer to a Steelers. It sounded like it was going to happen yesterday afternoon, and now everything's just kind of been throttled back again and slowed down. So again, we're hitting the slow point. But it does sound like Brandon Aiyuk on his way out of San Francisco. There were reports yesterday that they wouldn't get a first for Aiyuk from the Steelers, and that was after the Steelers had offered them a first in the spring, and San Francisco turned it down.
See, that's interesting because the draft picks are usually worth less after the draft.
So they were offering the first in the spring, which would I don't know if it would have been for that year or the year after.
Or the year after.
But offering probably a second now at this point just shows how much San Francisco's lost negotiating leverage. Really quickly, Harrison Butker, $24 million contract. He's now the highest paid kicker in NFL history. He's standing on business, as they say. What did he have to say yesterday?
Oh, he was talking. He was at training camp.
He talks a lot.
He does, and they're still asking about his comments that he made at Benedictine College, where he basically said women need to not work and raise families.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. A guy who is religious would then show up to a religious institution and maybe give a religious tinted speech. That's odd that he would do that.
These are his comments yesterday.
So I'm definitely an introverted person. I try to, protect my privacy as much as possible. But, as I mentioned, I've been in the league now 7 years, and I do have a platform. So with that comes people that want me to state what I believe to be very important. And so Benedictine College, who I have a relationship with, they reached out and they wanted me to give a speech. And I thought, man, I hate giving speeches. I don't want to. I just gave one at Georgia Tech. I don't want to be known as a commencement speaker. But I decided, if I'm going to go up and give a 20-minute speech, I'm going to pray about this. I'm going to prepare over months for this speech, and I'm going to stand behind what it is I'm saying. And I kind of look at the off season as a little bit of, maybe 5-month period where I can kind of just represent me as Harrison Butker as a faithful Catholic. And then obviously when it gets to the season, I try to focus as much as I can on football and not being a distraction from the Chiefs.
I hate third person. I really hate third person.
I get what he's saying though. Like, I'm not representing the Chiefs during my off-season time. I'm representing me.
I agree. But like if he was giving a speech at the University of Texas, I don't think he can give the same speech.
No, and
he shouldn't.
And I don't think he would.
And I don't think he would. He was to me, like, I have the same thing when it comes to comedy. Like, if you're not in the audience and you react on social media to a clip, like that's not meant for you. You're not in the audience. If you're in the audience, that's who the speech or the comedy routine is meant for. The paying customer in the audience, because like that's their audience. Like people on social media are not their audience. Like if you didn't go to that, if you weren't in the audience at that college, I don't really care your opinion on it. If you were in the audience and you're offended by what he said, I care about your opinion on it.
He represented himself this offseason, and then he did it in this contract negotiation chop, almost $20 million guaranteed over the next 4 years. Over the next 4 years with no agent, and that's the type of intelligence and competence that shows exactly why Harrison Butker's wife is willing to turn over all decisions to him.
Oh, man, there's Bobby Bell for you, kids. Rangers dropped their series with the Astros with the Globe. Is it time to finally give in to Bobby? And he was right.
Oh, yeah.
Next in the Fan.
Hectic morning. We've got you.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No,
Nutmeg Maiden.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Raced after it, but he couldn't even gain enough ground with how hard that ball was hit. 117 miles an hour off the bat, and the Astros lead 2-0.
Jared Sandler with a call in a game you heard right here. Rangers fall to the Astros 6-4. Peyton, you threw Bobby for a loop. He thought you were playing Creed there.
I heard the higher jugga
No, this
first.
is Fall Out Boy.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
thanks for setting me straight, Peyton.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 117 miles per hour. That ball
Dude,
got out. They hurt.
Man, I am glad that thing landed in the bullpen. Like, that would have killed. That would have hurt somebody.
I think that's the.
That would hurt somebody.
No, absolutely. I think that's the first thing that's gone 117 in DFW since Rashee Rice. Thank you.
I think you went fast.
Ring me up.
Faster.
Ring me up, Peyton.
He went faster. Man, you're doing it, aren't you? I like it. It was a good reference.
Thank
Good
you.
reference. But Rangers, I thought they had a chance. They had a chance at the end. It was 5-zip, and then all of a sudden it's 5-3. Then it's 6-4, and they get a guy on Josh Smith up with a chance to tie it, and
All they need is a chance.
that's all he needs is a chance.
That's what
man.
they needed last year. All they needed was a chance.
That's
They got
right.
in, and they did it.
They got in and they did it, and because they got in and because they did it last year, they are at the White House today.
Oh, baby. Washington, D.C. Meeting with President Biden. He's going to welcome the...
Folks!
He's going to welcome the Texas Rangers there and honor that baseball team. Jared
Did he watch a
Sandler?
single game?
No.
I do want to know, because do presidents watch championships? They watch the Super Bowl, the World Series, the NBA Finals. Like, do they even bother?
No, I don't know that Biden would have watched one since we've had color TV, to be honest. But they are going to be out there in Washington, D.C. Jared Sandler is en route right now.
I'm jealous.
And when he lands, he will join us at 9:00. But they do have the ceremony this morning. Jared Sandler will be out there at the White House, and the entire Texas Rangers team will. And we were talking about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like, I wonder what it would sound like. Like, I wonder what this is going to sound like, what Biden's going to say maybe. And so we've had fun with AI lately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so I just asked it,
Oh,
Chop.
no.
I was like, hey, AI, could you just show me what it might sound like when Biden welcomes the team to the White House today?
I'd like to welcome the Texas Rangers organization to the White House today.
Hang on.
I know we've had...
This is, like, how do they do this?
I don't know. It's
do
troubling
that?
how fast it's progressing, and especially
This is scary.
how free the access is to a lot of it.
Yeah, this is scary. Like, we gotta put a stop to this. Like, we need to outlaw AI.
Well, continue to show before they outlaw it. AI, continue to show us what it might sound like when the president welcomes the Rangers today.
I'd like to welcome the Texas Rangers organization to the White House today. I know we've had disagreement about border enforcement, but today we're showing... I'd like to welcome the Texas Rangers baseball team to the White House today. You know, when I was a boy in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I used to run around the ball fields until sundown with all the other boys and girls who smelled so good. We used to take Pops' favorite switch to the field and play stickball. We didn't have a ball, so we'd have to play with the rotted crab apples from Curly Jefferson's backyard. That's the America I knew. And that's the America that Strom Thurmond wants to take away. And that's the America that Donald Trump wants to take away.
There you go.
I see so many great Rangers ball players here today, but I couldn't help but notice you didn't bring your best player, the king of the wieners. I've always enjoyed Nolan Ryan's ballpark wieners. This Rangers team embodied the advice I've always given my son Hunter when I told him, score all you want on the road, just please don't do it at home. What I meant to say is that I really admire Bruce Bochy.
Oh.
Congratulations to the Texas Rangers on their 2023 season. I'm sorry we're both probably finishing third this year.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Man, thank you, Joe.
Man, AI is dangerous. That is dangerous. Like, it's clearly, you could tell it's not him. It's not like that good.
Close enough, though.
There have been some that are really, really good. Like some voices that are really, like the Trump voice is really good.
Oh,
that AI
yeah.
puts together.
Yeah. Look, I mean, this is, dude, I think you can actually on some of these websites, like I think if I had enough recordings of your voice, Chop, I could submit them and they would create like a model of your voice and I could like create AI Choppy.
I'm really scared of AI. Like I'm petrified of it.
Yeah. It was a good movie though.
Never saw it.
Yeah.
Is that Will Smith?
No, it was Haley Joel Osment. He played the little AI child. That was the last...
I'm thinking of
iRobot. Yeah,
iRobot.
AI was the last one that what's his name worked on, Stanley Kubrick. But Anyway, and then that was Steven Spielberg who took it over. Rangers did lose yesterday, though.
They did. They did fall 6-4 to the Houston Astros. And, thankfully, so I was listening to Steve Phillips on MLB Network, and he was saying he thinks the Rangers will finish second in the division. He thinks they can pass Seattle. He thinks Seattle's going to fall off. They just don't hit. Now, neither do we.
No, we don't.
But Seattle's still they made all these. They still struck out 14 times the other night.
Yeah, that's just Major League Baseball.
It is.
In
it
general.
is. But 5.5 back now of Houston. Houston has taken over the first place in the West. They're 5 back of Seattle, who's lost 3 in a row. The Rangers, like you said, they have the day off, and then they go to New York to face the Yankees, who are embroiled in a very difficult race with Baltimore. Seattle plays one more with Detroit today, 3 at home against the Mets, and they go on the road for a 9-game road trip: Detroit, Pittsburgh, and then the Dodgers. Okay, so Pittsburgh's still fighting for a wild card, and the Dodgers are obviously in first place in the AL West.
They can't even beat the Dodgers in Seattle right now, and then you got to go for 3 on the road with them. Or Detroit can't even beat Detroit right now. You get 3 on the road with them, and then it's Pittsburgh and Los Angeles. They've got a tough. We've talked about this. The Mariners have, I believe, the most difficult schedule remaining in the AL West.
Rangers have obviously 3 with New York. They do get Cole. They do get Rodon and Cole, and then Stroman, who right now I don't even think can throw 90 miles an hour at this point. And then they go on the road for Boston. For 3.
Boston.
Then they got Pittsburgh. They got Cleveland coming up too. It is not the easiest next 15 games or so. Yankees road, Boston road, Twins at home for 4, Pittsburgh at home, Cleveland on the road for 3. Then you get a break. You get the White Sox.
Yeah, that'll
Who
definitely
will be
a break.
losing. They will be on game 14 of their losing streak at that point.
Yeah, which would probably set some sort of record because I think they've had
a 14-game losing streak and a 21.
Yeah, there's no way 21. There's no way that I would imagine anybody else has had 3 14-game losing streaks. Which, by the way,
think so.
The White Sox lost again last night to the Oakland Athletics.
They're such a bad team. It's so embarrassing for the sport.
You know who's a big White Sox fan? I just found this out the other day. I had no idea.
Mickey?
Yep. I had no clue.
I thought he was a Cubs fan. I just assumed everybody from the Chicago area is a Cubs fan.
Yeah. I mean, typically, it's like Mets and Yankees. Do you think there are more White Sox fans in Chicago or more Mets fans in New York?
There's a lot of Mets fans in New York.
Is it more Mets fans then, percentage-wise?
I don't know Chicago. I've always heard people that I've been told that people in Chicago say the real Chicago fan is a White Sox fan. And
that would make sense.
The transient people just kind of gravitate to the Cubs.
That would make sense to me. That the Cubs would be kind of considered a little bandwagon, even though they were the lovable losers for forever.
Yeah.
Over at MLB.com, Chop, by the way, we've been talking about, did the Rangers make a mistake at the trade deadline? Did they do the wrong thing? Mark Feinsand. Are you familiar with him?
I am. MLB Network.
MLB Network, MLB.com writer. He reached out to a number of executives and asked them for their thoughts on the trade deadline. Reached out to him this week and just collected some thoughts on all the teams, what they thought. He got a quote.
Very timely there, Mark. It's only been 10 days.
It takes a lot of time to gather opinions on 32 teams. Okay,
30.
or 30 teams.
30.
It takes a long time to do that. So he talked to an AL executive who said this was his reaction to what the Rangers did. I get why the Rangers did what they did. Texas has an uphill battle to win, though in a winnable division. Are you really going to sell Evaldi, Robertson, and Yates? They probably could have done okay given the prices for Kikuchi, Estevez, and Scott.
Kikuchi!
But you have a veteran team that just won the World Series. Bruce Bochy is your manager, and you're getting 40,000 fans a night. I think that's a stretch. I don't know about that. Look that up. It's a tough call. Seattle and Houston are good, but not a lead, so I understand their decision. So that's at least one AL executive who seems to think that, look, if I was in the same position with them, I'm probably holding on to.
They're averaging 33 a night. I would say I would call that 40.
Okay.
I like to exaggerate things.
Typically, yeah.
You had 40,000 a night. There are 4 teams that average 40,000 a night. Can you name them?
4 teams that average how much?
40,000 or more a night.
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
Dodgers
The Phillies.
average 48. They got the biggest stadium too.
The Phillies.
Phillies are third. They average 41.4.
Yankees.
The Yankees are second. They average 41.9.
Braves.
Braves are fifth, 37.
Damn, just short.
Not a traditional power,
Not a traditional power.
but a recent player.
Cleveland.
No, where's Cleveland is
Bad.
20th. They average 26 a night.
Mistake by the lake. The Brewers.
Nope, 15th, 30 a night. Boy, a lot. There are 16 teams in Major League Baseball averaging 30,000 a night. That's great.
Padres.
Padres are fourth, 40,000.
Very good.
I'm surprised there are 16 teams averaging 30,000 a night in Major League Baseball.
Hey, it's a growing sport, man. They fixed everything last year for the most part. I mean, there's still some kinks to work out, but they fixed most of it.
5 teams not averaging 20: Kansas City, Chicago, White Sox, Tampa, Miami, and Oakland. Oakland's averaging 9. I think it's a little inflated. I think it might be a little inflated. Look, I agree with what they did. They are averaging 33,000 a night. You got all these tickets sold. I agree with what they did. Take a chance. It's 5 games. It wasn't, I think it may have been 3.5 at the time.
Yeah, again, it's just the way I view.
But,
At
I mean,
what
from a
cost?
roster perspective, roster building perspective, it probably would have been the right move.
At what cost? With your 29th ranked farm system.
Yeah, you've got to find a way to win now and plan for tomorrow. And they just decided to try to win now. Peyton, what's coming up with the payload?
Guys, let's talk more about the Rangers visiting the White House today. Plus, asking for permission for this specific thing after dates may not be the move. That's next on The Fan.
Hurtado Barbecue, the official barbecue of the morning show and your favorite baseball team. And of course, maybe you've heard the news that they're opening up a new location even closer to me in downtown Dallas. But don't forget about the one that's still brand new in downtown Mansfield. Open at 11 a.m. daily, right across the street from the park. So grab some hurtado for the games or afterwards, or have a picnic or eat inside. It's 226 North Walnut.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like, your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean, like, this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
This Saturday afternoon, see you there with 105.3 The Fan.
And it's back to Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan segment here, brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine is the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
Okay, am I hearing this right? The morning show is letting Peyton Russell have his own segment? I just don't get it. We've known Peyton for years. He's horrible on the mic. I mean, gathering the foreigners, this is going to be a train wreck.
Daddy does work, and Peyton just does board hopping.
Oh, man.
That is right, baby. The payload here on a Thursday. Every Thursday at this time, 6:40. And
one of my favorite segments.
One of them? I mean, the survey said it was #2. So
it also said it was #1 in least favorite, though.
Did it go up to #1 in least favorite?
That's the best. That's what you're looking for, though. You want to have people love it and hate it.
Yeah, because you don't want people to be like, oh, it's so, you know, it's all right, you know, because you want people to either like it or hate it. You know, you don't want to be in the middle. You made it in radio when you have haters.
Yeah, that's why I'm such a valuable addition.
You have too many haters and not enough likers.
Bobby has a lot of likers. I do know. Bobby has a lot of likers. A lot of haters, but a lot of likers. So you thought we weren't going to talk politics during the segment.
Politics!
And we're not, because the World Series champion Texas Rangers are going to the White House today. They'll be there because they have a series coming up in New York, so they're going to take, I guess, the connecting flight to, D.C. and then go up to JFK. But nonetheless, do we like the tradition of championship teams going to the White House? Because it seemed like as a kid, like it was so cool. Like it was something I'd watch on ESPN throughout the day. It was just, okay, this team They just won the championship. They're going to the White House, visiting whoever's there. And it seemed cool, but now it's like the last few years. I don't know if it's just because I've gotten older, but is it something we still watch like each day, or is it like if I see the highlights on Twitter, I'm fine. I'm cool.
Watch? With it. Yeah, I don't know if I'll watch it, but like I think it's cool.
It's cool.
I think it's really cool. Like I think I love history. I love the White House. I love Washington D.C. When I went to Sean's wedding, like before as soon as I landed, like I just drove around D.C. I just wanted to drive around.
D.C. is nice. I do like
D.C.
D.C.
And like it's the politics. Like you get in the politics things, and then you get bogged down. But like, I mean, I love history, man. So like to me, and like we've politicized the going to the White House now. Now it's like you got to make a political statement by either going or not going. And to me, it's just like I'm going regardless. I don't care if the president asks me to play golf. I don't care who it is. I'm playing. 100% chance.
Yeah,
I'm changing my schedule to go play golf with the president.
Yeah.
I could hate the president, and I'm gonna do it.
And I get it. It's like I'm in agreement. I would feel the same way, and it was cool growing up. The only problem now is like it's so polarized. Like when your team wins, you do have to have somewhere in the back of your head like, is one of my guys going to cause waves here by saying they're not going because of like some sort of statement, regardless of who's in there, they're not going. And is that going to cause people to complain about it? It creates an unnecessary
headache. It's their right to not go. They don't want to go. They don't have to go.
I don't blame them for it, but does it create an unnecessary headache that wouldn't have existed 30 years ago? Like nobody was skipping out, I don't feel like, on if you won in 1991, I don't think anybody was skipping out on going and seeing George H.W. Bush. If you won in 92, I don't think anybody was skipping out on going and seeing Clinton. Like it was a different
because one
era.
person did it, and so then people started to follow that trend, I guess.
Yeah, I can't remember who did it.
I think it's just become so split. Like, I think the first time this happened was probably W.
Maybe.
But I think we've had somebody with every president since. Like,
Yes.
I think there were some people who skipped out on Obama, some who skipped out on Trump. I don't know if anybody's done with Biden, but they've also been limited on being able to have people come there for the first, like, 2 of them.
Oh, because of COVID. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still think it's cool. I still like it. It was said when Trump served Big Macs.
That's what I was about to get into.
That's great.
So Trump gave Clemson McDonald's
By
in
the way,
2019.
Peyton, boss man Gavin Spittle says they're taking the train to New York. Is what they're doing.
That's cool.
Okay,
That's really, really cool.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
It's not a very long train ride. I think it's Amtrak. It's just pretty quick. It's great. I mean, like the Cowboys did that to San Diego one year when they went from Oxnard down to San Diego. This was 2008. We played I went down there when we played the Chargers. Sat next to Albert Breer when he was just a young pup. And for the Dallas Morning, I think he had moved on to the Sporting News or something like that at that point. And it was great. I mean, that train was really, really cool, man.
But I do have to ask, okay, so back to the Trump, he gave Clemson in 2019, he gave them McDonald's and Big Macs. What meal is Joe Biden serving up? Are we going with the TV dinners, like an old person food, or what are we doing here?
I think that's a good question.
Do the Rangers even get a meal? I mean, do they deserve? Does Joe Biden look at the record this year and go, you know what? I don't think they deserve a meal, man.
You know what have you done for me lately? They will probably. I would assume they're going to do. Do they do like region specific cuisine? Like, would they give them barbecue?
That would make sense.
Are we going to have horses at the White House? And are they going to do the tradition like it's Cowboys? Everyone in Texas rides horses. Like, they're not going to do that, right?
I don't think they'll do that, but I mean, I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Typically, what is
Joe Biden going to ride in on a horse? A stallion?
Imagine Joe riding in on a horse.
Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine probably something healthy. So like maybe a salad bar or something for them today.
Like that's what they're going to do?
I imagine that's what they're going to get. Yeah.
Are you trying to make it? Is there a joke in there that I'm missing?
I'm saying like I don't know. Probably something like simple. That's just that's not a joke. That's me being genuine.
Who on the Rangers is overweight? Go.
They let Jordan Montgomery go.
Boy, does he have a little belly.
Dumpy.
All right, it's the Payload every Thursday at this time. Next story here, guys. Okay, so we all been on a first date. That's how we all get our significant others, right? You got to go on the first date to then get to the second date to then, keep going in the relationship. This woman, apparently she's going on many dates here. And she was upset because a guy after the first date asked her this specific question. And this is her reaction to it.
What is wrong with men? I just went on a first date. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. We had dinner, drinks, got along. Tell me why this man at the end of the date he walks me to my car and he goes, had such a wonderful evening with you. It was so great. Great to get to know you. Can I kiss you? Don't ever ask a girl, can I kiss you? That is an immediate ick. Like, do you guys just not have balls anymore?
Oh!
Literally, he should have just gone and been like, I had a great date with you, we had great chemistry, and then gave me a nice little smooch on the lips, and then we called it a night. There is nothing more unattractive than a man asking if they can kiss you. Men, do better.
Ooh!
Man,
oh, I like this one.
This is the issue because, see, this guy obviously is from the guy that's on this state is from Philadelphia because he listens to WIP, and he had the story about Howard Eskin about not asking permission for the kiss. And so now
very
he's
different
asking.
context.
Now he's
Very
asking
different
permission because if Howard Eskin asked for permission for the kiss at the Phillies game, he'd still be going to Phillies games, right? So that's what I'm getting at here. Is I know it's not the smoothest thing. It's you can't call him Riz God for this or that because of what he did, but it's like we live in an era where I don't think it's a terrible to ask for permission. But yeah, I mean, especially with this girl looked like she was in her mid to late 20s, so I get why maybe she didn't like that. But I don't know. Does that get you blocked from the second date right after if you just ask, hey, can I kiss you? Because the last thing you want is to be rejected, right? I think that hurts more.
Right, but I mean, okay, so yeah, I don't think it should get you blocked from the second date because all you're it does have to be tough to be a 20-somethings guy in today's society.
Especially all the things society is telling you. Yeah, society.
It's just very different. It's very
moving
different.
goalposts every few years on what the expectation is for you.
It's very different today than it was, in 1997 when I graduated high school. It's just very, very different. And in a lot of ways, it's better. And in a lot of ways, it's just more difficult. You're obviously, if you try to be too forward with somebody, I mean, you could be blasted on social media and all of a sudden your whole world comes crashing down if you're just too forward with somebody. And I don't even mean in doing anything wrong. You're just doing hey, I'm gonna try to kiss you, and if it's unwanted, I mean, it's just different today. So I get it. I get the fear, but read the room, dude. If she's giving you clues, I know it's hard to pick up on clues. I don't pick up on them ever.
Man, I am blinded to clues.
I am totally blinded to clues more often than not.
Mackenzie, she tells me all the time, she was like, I wish you would have kissed me on the first date. I was like, well, I didn't really get the clue. I didn't get that that was, it was a great day. We were there for, 4.5, 5 hours, but I was like, I didn't get the clue or the hint. And it's like, we're guys.
See,
we're guys. We generally are pretty dumb.
If you're a guy and you get the hint, then I think that's a red flag.
Look,
you're not supposed to get the hint.
I think going on a date is a pretty good indicator that I'm not saying universally, but going on a date with them is a pretty good indicator that they're attracted to you and interested in you. And I don't think
I would say no on that one. Sarah was not attracted to me at all.
Well, she said you were good at texting, right? Is that?
Yeah, I was funny. That's it.
Funny.
I was funny.
You are a funny guy.
Dude,
funnier than Bobby.
Funny, not true. I guess unless you ask Amanda.
Hey, say a couple jokes and all of a sudden
she'll say Choppy's funnier. So that's upsetting to me.
What's that?
Amanda thinks you're funnier. Amanda Sharif.
Is it funnier than you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's sat with me for a whole year.
Bobby punches air after every show. He gets so worked up about this.
Man, you can't worry about that. You can't worry about that.
I want to.
Comedy is what's funny to one is not to another.
Yeah. Well, it still hurts.
There are people who think that you're funnier than me. It doesn't matter.
I know, and we would say those people are correct, Chop.
Would you rather she say RJ's more funny, or funnier than you, or more attractive than you? What gets underneath you?
See, I guess that's the thing. I feel like those do go hand in hand a lot of times. I think for women,
no, she wouldn't be calling you ugly, but she would just say, "Hey, RJ's better looking," But I guess in the sense, maybe she is calling you ugly, or you would definitely take that.
Maybe your personality is ugly.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not on the market, so I'd rather be funnier.
Ooh, yeah.
Sometimes you're close to being on the market.
That's true.
Hayden, you're not supposed to.
Not me. That she's gonna get tired of my ass one day.
Oh my gosh. All right, that is the payload. Well done. Another great episode of the payload here on 105 through the Fan. I'm RJ Choppy. He is Bobby Belt, Peyton Russell alongside. It is Sean and RJ. Sean is on week 4 of paternity leave. Leave him a message on the Odyssey app. Tell him how much you miss him, and to get back to work and stop taking all this advantage of the company's paternity leave. Yesterday it was poop water. Today it's worms at the Olympics. Episode 9, Pedal to the Metal, next on The Fan.
Miss any part of the boys this morning?
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No,
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
105.3 The Fan.
Good morning, DFW. It is Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan. I'm RJ Choppy, Bobby Belt alongside Peyton Russell. Sean is out week 4 of 6 of paternity leave. But, you know, we still, I hope he's out there on Saturday for Fan Bowl at Hurtado Barbecue. So you'll be able to see him then and tell him how much you missed him all week. Exactly. How tell him he's been the Jacob deGrom of paternity. Just never available. He has. That's what he's doing. From 1 to 7, Hurtado Barbecue in Arlington will be Fan Bowl 2024. We'll have to defend my crown. If I decide to perform, I haven't decided if I'm playing or not.
You got to defend the title. You got to defend the title.
I might retire as champ. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a fall. I'll walk in there. You can just tap me like they did with Hulk Hogan. Just tap me on the chest. I lay on the ground. And I turn the belt over. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's the end. Yeah, but just right there. We could also see, we could be at Hurtado today, too, Bob. Yep, you can check out Hurtado today from 2 to 7 p.m. The G-Bag Nation will be out there at Hurtado Barbecue in Mansfield. What do we call that, Peyton?
M-Town.
M-Town, that's right.
M-Town, baby.
You almost caught him. You almost caught him. We'll be in, that went right after 6:40. We'll be in Mansfield. They will be in Mansfield today, 226 North Walnut Creek Drive. I'll be out there myself from 2 to 3 p.m., just hanging out, saying what's up to the listeners and partying. And so go see the G-Bag Nation from 2 to 7 p.m. today. Get some G-Bag Nation etched glasses. They got those chalices or whatever that they've had, the G-Bag Nation mugs. And those are presented by Stella Artois, so thank you to them. And then come out and see us on Saturday. Whether you're registered to play the paper football tournament or not, which registration is closed, it's still going to be a good time. So just come out, hang out, drink, hear all of our great salacious stories we can't tell on the air. Very nice. Absolutely true. All right, let's do a little pedal to the metal.
Oh, we love an intro. From track to hoops, Ledecky to Simone. It's time to hear how the Olympic Games are going. We won't talk box until the gender thing is settled. RJ Choppy puts his pedal to the metal.
Wow, that's still that's a terrible, but like it. Yeah, all right, so they did mention the boxing thing there, and I'll touch on this real quick. So the second female boxer that has lost to one of the two boxers that are embroiled in the middle of the controversy, if you want to call it that, has thrown up the Des Bryant.
Throwing up the X?
Yes.
Not throwing up the Y, though.
No. What they're doing is after they get defeated, they take their index fingers and they do 2 X's right there.
Dos Equis.
Look, the IOC has done a terrible job explaining this situation. They have allowed the narrative just to be whatever side you're on that's the one that is out there. The IBA, the International Boxing Association, banned them a year ago for failing a gender test. Basically, they had elevated testosterone. They didn't do like a full physical. They did whatever. They didn't do blood work of other than just basically finding out certain testosterone levels, chromosomal levels. The IOC, I blame them. They're the ones, they have completely botched this. They have not explained this and explained their side other than saying they're legitimate and they're women and their passports say that. And I guess that's supposed to mean something. I don't know enough about Algeria to know what that means. But I just think the IOC has completely botched this. And it's a shame. Because this is, I mean, literally the other boxers are obviously feeling like they're being slighted, and then the two boxers at the center of this debate obviously feel they're being slighted and incredibly embarrassed.
Yeah.
So I think the IOC's done an awful job.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, the actual, there is a question here, I guess, where you could say, is it fair? Like I think there's a question of like, if these certain factors are true, if they have XY chromosomes, if they have this or that, like, is it fair for them to be competing in the competition? Fine, if you want to have that discussion and say those things. It's been muddied to the point though where people are like, well, that is a biological male, and it's like, well, like there's legitimately no evidence of that, and there's more evidence to the contrary.
Right, and I just think they could have explained that so much better, especially early on.
It's Like
they tried. It didn't work. I mean, people just took their opinions and went with it. But
that's why whenever these sort of topics come up, I don't try to explain them. I just go, yeah, I don't know. Ask somebody else.
That's somebody else. Yeah, don't ask me. China is upset the U.S. is winning so much in track and field. They want to test the Olympic athletes. They are calling for increased testing of U.S. track and field athletes. Really? Like that's the hill you want to die on? We've been dominating U.S. track. We've been dominating track and field for like 100 years. That's the one you want to go with?
Yeah, and I mean, is China really the one that needs to be saying that?
Their swimmer was just accused of doping.
Like I don't feel like I've ever thought of China as like a big track and field country
or a big anti-doping country. Like, isn't the perception of them is that like, oh my God, those athletes they're on something. That's what we've been talking about for years. It was like, it was before that. It was the USSR that was always doing something.
Back in the USSR.
So it's called CHINADA, the Chinese agency. It's basically China anti-doping, has raised questions about U.S.'s handling of Ariane Knighton's positive test in March for the steroid trenbolone. He races in the men's 200-meter final today. He'll be up against Noah Lyles, who is the American who's the favorite. He won the 100. He's now going to race the 200. That's at 1:30 today is the final for the 200-meter. 1:30 our time will be like p.m. In Paris. But yesterday was his first loss of the 200 since Tokyo in over 3 years. It was his first loss in the 200, and he finished second. So the top three move on, and he's still going to be in the final with a chance. But
he was saving it up. He was just saving it up, pacing himself.
Here we go though. In the Tokyo Games, the U.S. agency, U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, and the World Anti-Doping Agency accused Chinese authorities of covering up the positive test results of 23 Chinese swimmers before the Tokyo Games. 23! And now they're coming at the U.S. for the U.S. track and field. I think they're just barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah. It's it's a little bit like trying to get people to look somewhere else. Like, hey, look over here. Look at this thing. Don't pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Look over there at their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not going to fall for it.
It appears gymnastics is no longer the youngest sport there is.
No, I mean, Simone Biles won it at the age of 27 today.
Let me introduce you to women's skateboarding.
Women's skateboarding. Okay.
Which it always seems to be on. When we're up here watching, it's always either like ping pong or skateboarding that's on.
Can I ask a question?
I mean,
since we're already talking about gender,
just me and you here.
Well, Payne's here too.
Come on,
not Carter
in the room.
Is skateboarding one of those ones that you would need to separate by gender? Like, is there an unfair? I genuinely don't know. Is there an unfair advantage?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Or do they just default to separating it? Period. Like separating all sports that way.
Interesting.
Like, I just don't know. Like, for instance, I wouldn't think the shooting one, the accuracy shooting, would need to be split up by gender, but they may just feel like they should.
I don't know. Like, are the do the women in the shooting generally not compete with the men, but like have the same scores or the accuracy? I have no idea. I've not looked at it. It's interesting.
I don't know. My eyes are better than my wife's. I know that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Everybody's vision's better than Peyton's. I put those glasses of his on. My goodness,
man. And I'm 27. Can you believe that? That's why I wear contacts, man. Why I wear contacts at night. It's like I can't see anything.
LASIK? Have you thought about LASIK?
Thought about it, but I mean, I kind of scared to.
No, you shouldn't be. Zach and Eric did with the Brooks Eye Associates, and they said that they felt completely at ease.
I did it, 10, 12 years ago.
Best decision you've made? I mean,
look, the 48 hours, it was, it was uncomfortable. Like, it itched. They were dry, but it was great. I mean, literally the next day, I was seeing so much more clearly. So much more clearly the next day.
919 says, yes, former skateboarder, ability to pump legs, etc. 817, anything that utilizes strength should be split. So, yeah, no co-ed skating. Okay. So, all right, fair enough. I was just curious.
But anyway, so skateboarding has taken over as even younger. Of the 6 medals that have been given out in women's skateboarding over the years, we got a 13-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 12-year-old. 12 is the youngest to ever win an Olympic gold medal. We have an 11-year-old this year competing in women's skateboarding.
Jeez.
11. Like, that's my son. That's my youngest kid. I couldn't imagine at 11 years old being in the Olympics. Like, if you want to win a medal in skateboarding, you literally be a literal youth, like a preteen. Not even a teen. Be a preteen.
Yeah, which I wonder what the advantage is there.
I think what it is they're still low to the ground. So like even when they fall, it doesn't necessarily hurt as much. Like you fall now, but I think it's just they're very low to the ground.
Hard.
Yeah, it's just that's it. Congrats to Team USA and Hampton Morris, first men's weightlifting medal since 1984. I got to be honest, that is the one sport I've never gotten into. I've never gotten into Olympic weightlifting. I just assume everybody from like Bulgaria is really good at it.
But how is it like
hungry?
Never once? There's
Not
never
since
been like 40 years we're talking about here where nobody from the U.S. won there? That seems odd.
Yeah, it does. Like I'm scared of like two things. Like I have like I just feel like someone's gonna do the snatch and or is it the jerk? Whatever it is.
Neither of those sound very good.
It's the clean and jerk or the snatch. The clean and jerk is where you go here and then you press. The snatch is where you go from bottom to top.
I prefer the second one.
And like people
just talking technique.
The bar will go behind them and their shoulder will rip out of the socket. Like that. That's disgusting.
Gosh.
Or they'll like go up and then like it'll fall on their head. Like it's dangerous. But sometimes you'll see the athletes lifting so much that they urinate on them. They urinate themselves, or they'll vomit. They'll try to press it up and they'll throw up as they're coming up.
Have you ever had such an intense workout you vomited?
No,
never. No, must be
I felt
dizzy.
I felt dizzy. Actually, when I was working out with Derek recently, I felt dizzy. But we were doing like. It was kind of more CrossFit-y, and I'm 44, man. I'm not into the, hey, you got 45 minutes to complete 49 exercises. That's just not me. I'm not fast-paced like that. So I was like, oh, I'm getting lightheaded. On the 6th assault bike, I was like, all right, I've had enough. I'm starting to get lightheaded here. So I've never really gotten into weightlifting, but it's, congrats to Hampton Morris. We got worms, Bobby Belt. We have worms at the Olympics. British swimmer Adam Peaty claims athletes are finding worms in the fish they are eating at Olympic Village. Is this not, I feel like it's every time we get more and more horror stories for every Summer Olympic game. The Winter Olympics seem like more okay because they're just like at, ski lodges.
Yeah.
But like the Summer Olympics, it seems like we're getting more and more awful stories and horror stories about what's going on at these games.
Yeah,
and now from poop water to no air conditioning in the Olympic Village, to no air conditioning on some of the buses, to uncomfortable cardboard beds, and now I like my fish and people are finding worms in the fish. It's just not good enough. The standard. This is the best of the world, and we're not feeding them the best.
Bro, this is the but like the issue here is we had an ice storm. That was an act of God. We couldn't control it. And the NFL has said, you're not getting a Super Bowl again because of ice. You had an ice storm, and so we're never giving you the Super Bowl ever again, is what it feels like. And why is there no, why is Paris allowed to just have nothing ready for this? And
I don't know,
just
man.
Be like, yeah, what a great host.
Great question. Because everybody loves Paris.
It does feel like every Summer Olympics, there's some little thing of like, yeah, this country was not prepared. They get like 16 years. There's like 12, 16 years to prepare for this.
They just announced Salt Lake City for like 2034 or whatever. Like,
exactly.
Like they know. They know it's coming. They know it's coming. I'm almost from the Franco Injury Tours fan text. I'm almost 46. I do CrossFit 5 days a week, and I throw up regularly. Ooh, man, good for you. Good for
not the throwing up, but the working out.
Yeah, but the working out, not the throwing up. Absolutely. All right, that is a little bit of pedal to the metal here on Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, it is the commercial-free Expressway. Got a Rangers ticket giveaway, neighborhood watch, and a Cowboys trade they need to make. That's all coming up next. Sean and RJ without Sean on 105.3 The Fan. But let's get you some weight loss. Yep.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Front Street in Arlington, it's Fan Bowl 2024. Come party with us beginning at 2. Presented by TolbertGarageDoor.com. We'll have an air-conditioned party tent and we'll party together into the night. Fan Bowl 2024 at Hurtado in Arlington this Saturday afternoon. See you there with 105.3 The Fan.
And it's back to Sean and RJ right here on 105.3 The Fan. It is the Expressway right now on The Fan, and it's brought to you by the On Time Experts.
Good morning, DFW. Sean and RJ 105.3 The Fan. Excited to talk to Jared Sandler at 9 o'clock this morning. He will be calling live from the White House, or maybe not yet from the White House, but on his way to the White House.
Yeah, I don't know. Would they just let Sandler, like, hey, can I take an interview call in
Can I go to the Lincoln
Wing?
bedroom and take the call?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, generally, I think.
Oval Office, can I go in there?
Why not?
It's private, right?
Yeah,
It's
come
private
on.
in there.
Here, just right this way, sir.
Yeah. Is that a Resolute desk? I'll just do right there at the Resolute desk. So, talk to Sandler at 9 o'clock. Neighborhood Watch coming up in about 20 minutes from now, but I saw this from Seth Walder, who I really like it over at ESPN. And some trade matches and which teams could make a little bit of a deal. And I'll do the Cowboys first. And the Cowboys do show up on this because it wouldn't be an ESPN article without the Cowboys because they have to find a way to get a click.
Yeah.
But this isn't actually a trade that we have talked about in the past, about a player that is targeted, a position that is targeted. And the Cowboys trade a 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. So a 5th-round pick this coming year, 6th-round pick in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And in return, they get Elijah Mitchell for a 6th-round pick this year. I'm sorry, and a 6th-round pick this year.
Sign me up.
Elijah and a 6th this year for a 5th this year and a 6th next year. That is San Francisco essentially saying they're giving him away. That's zero cost.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a 5th, basically. You get a 5th round. You're going to have to give up a 5th, basically. Then you swap 6th. So the 6th isn't a big thing. But a 5th-round pick, basically, for Elijah Mitchell, who had a bit of a down year last year, but is somebody who I think is still a good back and somebody who I think is better than anybody you have on your roster right now. That's a solid deal. And this is, like you mentioned, Chop, these are the guys that we've talked about. You go and say, all right, if you're looking in the trade market, how do you find veterans who make sense?
Right.
All right, well, go look at Miami, who has 6 running backs on their roster that are all competent. Go look at San Francisco, who has a bunch of running backs. You know, Miami and San Francisco both drafting running backs despite having a lot of depth. Elijah Mitchell did have a bit of a downturn last year. I think in 2022, he had averaged 6 yards per carry. Last year was 3.7. He wasn't as good. Now, the one thing that would throw a wrinkle in this chop, of course, is that he strained his hamstring this week. Elijah Mitchell did, so he's hurt currently. How long does that keep him out? How long does that cause a problem for him? But if you want to talk about getting a proven back who is, I mean, not like been a workhorse, but a guy who last few years you're talking about has carried the ball somewhat regularly for San Francisco, then I don't hate it.
All right, so the write-up here is, the Cowboys running back situation was tough when Stephen Jones started talking up Royce Freeman. Dallas running back room consists of Freeman, 29-year-old Zeke, Rico, Deuce, and some other contenders. As much as running backs have correctly become devalued, those players probably weren't good enough right now to lead a backfield for a Cowboys team with Super Bowl aspirations. Mitchell could be the answer. He's the presumed backup to Christian McCaffrey. Although Kyle Shanahan recently indicated Jordan Mason could also be in the backup mix. Plus, they drafted Isaac Guerendo. I know how to pronounce names.
I was trying to step in before it was a problem.
Did you see the how quick he was?
Hosting, dude.
I mean, it's so condescending.
That's actually called
Give me a
co-hosting,
second.
Peyton. Thank you.
Give me a second here. I hadn't even gotten to the name yet, and he just assumed.
Because I heard the pause. I heard the deliberate nature.
My name is not Sean. I know how to pronounce people's names.
Oh.
I was trying to be a good teammate. I was trying to scoop you up, lift you up.
They drafted him in the 4th round. If San Fran feels good about its running back depth, it might be willing to deal Mitchell, who enters the final year of his contract, for some draft compensation. He would have a good argument to be the best running back on the Cowboys. He's averaged 0.4 yards over expectation per carry in his career per NFL Next Gen, which means
basically given down and distance and other factors, how much you are on a given carry expected gain. He has gained typically on those carries about a half yard more.
I thought I was going to catch him, Peyton. While not an overwhelming figure, it is much better than what we can expect from Zeke, who had a negative rush yards over expectation per carry in each of the last 3 seasons. Dowdle's per carry was slightly negative last year as well.
He
wrote 2. I prefer as well.
You are a big PFF guy. You love them.
I like a base. They give me a baseline.
I'm not as big of a fan, but here's his 3 seasons, his PFF grade. His rookie year 21, 76.3. 2022, he had a 90.6. He only played in 5 games that year, but 90.6 in 2022. And then last year, even with the under 4 yards per carry, he still had a 70.1 overall PFF grade. So, I mean, I do think Elijah Mitchell is better than really anything else that you could throw out there on the field right now. And you're talking about a guy who, when the Cowboys have said they wanted juice, that was one of the things we heard from Mitch LaPointe, their director of college scouting. We interviewed him before day 3 of the draft, and we said, "Hey, what are you looking for in a running back?" And he said, "We need juice. Like we need that top end speed. We don't have it anywhere." Elijah Mitchell's a 4.35 guy, and that's speed and a guy with experience and a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit. If you're telling me I can get Elijah Mitchell for a 5th round pick when I got a bunch of comp picks coming my way due to letting so many free agents walk this offseason, fine, sign me up.
The contract calls for $915,000 for Elijah Mitchell. I'm in.
Might be a little tight. You know what's funny?
Tight for this team.
He is making less money this year than they will potentially fine CeeDee Lamb for missing the game on Sunday.
Oh, my God. Franklin injured during his fan text. Can we trade Trey Lance for him?
You think the 49ers will be like, give us that back?
Give us that back?
Yeah.
Who's their backup?
Who is it? Is it Gerard Johnson that's out there now? I don't know who their
backup is. They have Darnold
is.
last year. They have Darnold.
Darnold's in Minnesota now.
No, I know, but didn't they have him last year?
He was there last year.
Yeah.
So I look.
I mean, Darnold's on the he's fighting for a starting role.
Well, I mean,
he's not going to get it, but
JJ McCarthy's out for the entire preseason now. He has a calf strain.
Yeah, so Denver has Stidham and Zach Wilson ahead of Bo Nix.
Go Vols, baby. It's Josh Dobbs as the backup in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Dobbs is a better player than Trey Lance right now.
That's an improvement. Oh, Josh Dobbs is fine. He's fine. We're all over the backup quarterbacks. Joe Milton, Josh Dobbs.
Look at you.
That's what we produce. We've gone from Heath Schuler and Peyton Manning to Josh Dobbs and Joe Milton. There we go, baby. Hell yeah. Oh, Hendon Hooker. Yeah. We're all over the backup quarterback spots.
And you know what's funny? Hendon Hooker's older than all of those guys you named. Heath Schuler, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, he kind of is. All right, so we saw this. We were talking a little bit ago about training camp stats.
This is the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
This is literally the most absurd thing. Eagles training camp report. This is from Elliott Shore Parks. Jalen Hurts 13 attempts away from breaking the training camp record for consecutive passes without an interception. That was an actual tweet that was sent out yesterday.
Let me guess from who?
This team
Elliott
doesn't
Shore Parks.
know how to lose.
Elliott Shore Parks is an Odyssey family member. We like Elliott Shore Parks, right, Peyton?
I used to work with him, yeah.
Elliott is a big homer. Elliott is a big homer. And here's the problem. How would he know that? How would he know what the record is throughout the history of the Eagles for most consecutive training camp passes without an interception? And that means that Elliott is not watching anything else in practice other than Jalen Hurts. He's got eyes only on Hurts.
So that was the tweet that he sent out. And then he posted another one said, Jalen Hurts. By the way, these tweets are at like 9 a.m. How early are they practicing out there?
Well, you got to think, I don't know, 10 then? 10 a.m. Eastern?
No, they're at 9 a.m. It's 9:30 a.m., so they're practicing at like...
But they've got... That's Central Time, right? So
I assume.
Fast forward an hour.
All right, so he goes... And then at 9:30, he sends one out. It says, Jalen Hurts has tied the training camp record for pass attempts without interception at 157. And then history, all caps. He has officially gone 158 consecutive passes in training camp without an interception. His outstanding training camp is officially a historic one. He wrote a historic, not an historic, which I'm fine with. And then he posts the photo of Wilt Chamberlain holding up the 100.
He's trolling. He's trolling, and he knows he's trolling.
And it's got the 158 on it with Jalen Hurts' face superimposed over Wilt Chamberlain.
He's trolling, and he knows it.
He has to be.
That tells me he's trolling.
This
now,
is not a real thing.
Other times he has not been trolling. He's been a homer in some instances, but this has to be trolling. If it's not, it is the least self-awareness I've ever heard in my life. There's no way that he can't know it. I'll tell you, though, the training camp performance is ultra impressive when you consider everything that Jalen Hurts has had to overcome, which is essentially kind of maybe being a spoiled brat in Philadelphia. So ESPN yesterday, Chop, had a troubling article if you're an Eagles fan. It's great if you're a Cowboys fan, probably. Eagles look to bridge Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts divide, which we've heard the rumors about this, that there's been reports out there that there's a little bit of tension. This is from Jeremy Fowler and Tim McManus the other day at ESPN. The NovaCare Complex Auditorium was packed. Philadelphia Eagles coaches, support staffers, and even general manager Howie Roseman gathered alongside players, who were together for spring workouts.
Is that a Peyton reference?
It is. With all eyes fixed on Nick Sirianni, who stood in front of the team, the beleaguered head coach decided to get, as one team source in attendance said, super honest. Soup's honest, Chop.
Soups.
Sirianni's message was clear. Last year was on me, on my shoulders. I didn't get it done. He took full responsibility that he felt that he let the team down and didn't do a good enough job of empowering the players, the team source said. It was passionate and from the heart. For a coach seen as boisterous, emotional, and at times brash, this was Sirianni at his vulnerable best. His goal was to show accountability, according to a team source, and stress the need for others to do the same if the Eagles were to correct what went wrong and move forward. Well, here's the thing. ESPN says things were off, including between the head coach and the quarterback last year. ESPN spoke with several sources who detailed a prolonged strain between Hurts and Sirianni during the 2023 campaign, with one source with direct knowledge of the dynamic describing the relationship as fractured and unhealthy last season. This is the killer line. At the root of the divide, a disconnect in offensive visions with what a team source described as a lack of full respect for Sirianni's X's and O's chops.
Isn't Sirianni an X's and O's guy? Isn't that what he was billed as?
He was supposed to be, coming from Indianapolis.
Like, that's what he did. That's what he was.
That was the idea. It says there was never a moment last year where they were operating in a healthy relationship. Okay, if that's the case, never a moment. Does that mean Hurts was blaming Sirianni for them losing the Super Bowl? Like, how do you enter the season with that issue?
What issue did Sirianni have in the Super Bowl that was his? What was the big...
That, waving the Chiefs back down the field and then making Patrick Mahomes angry? That was his fault, probably.
Yeah, maybe it was.
There's that. That's on him. Now, they mentioned here that there was a point last year where they were 10-1, and they said even when we were 10-1, everybody was moping around here like our dog died. Which you could see. You could see it last year. They were toxic. It says with the 2024 season on the horizon, there is hope that new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore can bridge the gap between the two, as one source close to Hurts puts it. So that's a Hurts source saying they hope he can bridge the gap. Both Hurts and Sirianni made efforts to take accountability and mend fences this offseason, but their next stress test will have Sirianni coaching for his job and Hurts fighting to reclaim MVP form on a team desperate to return to the Super Bowl. The Hurts-Sirianni dynamic does not work well when it's one-on-one. A team source said requiring a third party to prominently be involved for the offense to run at a high level. Nick can press on you, a source close to Sirianni said. Wow. You tell me, hey, moving forward, they have to have a third-party individual involved for their relationship to be healthy. That's got an expiration date. They're done.
That has absolutely has an expiration date.
They're done.
Very good stuff.
Just like maybe the expiration date on, really quickly, Kirk Cousins. Did you see that?
Tell me about this. Yeah, I saw this. I want you to explain this because he still is upset about the whole draft day situation.
Yeah, he was ready to get out of Minnesota, is what it appeared. He was ready to just move on, so much so that the Falcons tampered with him, went out of their way.
So, by the way, why would you want to leave Minnesota's? I mean, I think Minnesota's offensive coaching staff is pretty good.
I mean, maybe you just felt like they were capped, or you. I mean, what you're seeing now, they're clearly having to make financial decisions.
That's true.
And so he may have just saw some of that coming. Kirk Cousins was non-committal when asked earlier this offseason if he regrets signing with the Atlanta Falcons, who proceeded to spend a top 10 draft pick on his potential successor just months after his arrival. This from CBS Sports. Had the quarterback known about Atlanta's plans, according to ESPN, he would have given more consideration to a specific alternative in free agency, and that alternative was staying with the Minnesota Vikings on a one-year contract and serving as an unofficial bridge to rookie J.J. McCarthy. So he's willing to be the bridge that Atlanta's trying to have him be right now. But it's like, no, you need to, I'll do it for a year. I'm willing to mentor for a year, but this sign me to a deal and then immediately pick my replacement, that's not sitting well with me. So Kirk Cousins, the eternally optimistic Kirk Cousins, not happy. Kind of wishing maybe I should have stayed in Minnesota.
Yeah, maybe you should have. Interesting. I mean, look, it's you got to know exactly what their plan is. Now, was Atlanta's plan all along to take Penix? Like, what if Penix? Obviously, maybe they just felt he fell in their lap.
Like at the pick, I think they knew he'd be available there.
Yeah.
So did they fall in love with him post Cousins? Maybe, but man, I don't know.
It was interesting. It was an interesting pick, no doubt about that one. Okay, Tolos, it's time to hook you up.
All right, Tolos, that's right. Caller number 10 right now at 877-881-1053 wins a pair of tickets to see your Texas Rangers take on the Minnesota Twins on Friday, August 16th. And the first 15,000 fans also receive a World Series champion short sleeve hoodie. That's caller number 10 at 877-881-1053.
A little bit of time for the neighborhood watch. We have about 20 minutes? A lot of stuff to get to that we can do. We have a lot of things that we can do here during the neighborhood watch. We left ourselves just enough time to be able to do it. So let's do it right now.
We need to take people out of their bubbles and their safe place and make them think about the world we live in.
You are fake news.
So what do you guys hear? What's the scuttlebutt?
Happy Thursday, DFW Metroplex. We're going to be out in the neighborhood ourselves this week at Hurtado Barbecue.
Yes, we are.
On Saturday. That is the Arlington location. We're going to be out there for Fan Bowl from 1 to 7 p.m. You do not have to be registered to play or compete in order to show up and just enjoy the party. So show up, enjoy the party, be part of the party so that you're not regretting it. Come Monday morning.
You okay?
I had to sneeze. I caught a sneeze. That was, that one went right back up. Okay.
You all right?
I'm good. So Saturday, we're going to be out there for Fan Bowl, 1 to 7 p.m. at Hurtado Barbecue in Arlington. Today, G-Bag Nation will be at Hurtado Barbecue in Mansfield. Full show. No Rangers baseball as they are in Washington, D.C. To be honored at the White House. But 2 to 7 p.m., go out to Hurtado in Arlington, and I'll be out there from 2 to 3 p.m. if you want to hang out. Come say hey.
Very nice.
It'll be a good time. You can get G-Bag Nation etched glasses, courtesy of Stella Artois.
We had some of those at the Firehouse Tour last time in Glen Heights. We had some. Now ours went first.
They did, but we were having a bit of a competition for a little bit.
We won.
We did.
We won.
We won ultimately.
Which I expected us to win.
I did too. It's
and
all right.
I would expect them to win when it's their show.
Exactly. But Tolo's a Tolo. You know what I mean? All right. Our Facebook community group post of the week comes from the city of Louisville. That is the Facebook group. And this caused a little bit of sniping, a little bit. It says, I want to send a big thank you to the Louisville Fire Department.
Ooh, we're big fans of them. Firehouse number 7 we were at.
We are big fans of them. My smoke alarm started chirping at 5 a.m., indicating the batteries needed to be replaced. That is typically what it indicates. Someone had told me the fire department would come do this for you. So I called them, and sure enough, they do. They came right over and replaced the batteries and all the smoke detectors and wouldn't even let me pay for the batteries. They are awesome. For the most part, yay, we love Louisville Fire Department.
Yeah.
People are liking it. There was some commentary in there that was like, what are you doing calling the fire department to put batteries in? Like how lazy are you being?
How old was this person?
This individual, let's take a look. I can actually look right now. Older. I don't have a problem with it. Just in general, they don't think you should be, if you're able to put batteries in, you shouldn't call the fire department. Like, it would be bad for me to call it.
Yes, if you called the fire department, I would mercilessly mock you forever.
Which is worse? calling the fire department to have them replace the batteries in my smoke detector, or if I called the fire department to install a car seat for me?
Calling them to do the smoke detector because they got to leave. You could drive your car to their firehouse. They'll do the car seat. I would not do that either. Like, put the car seat in yourself. Like, you should know how to do that.
Be a man. You know what I mean?
Or just an adult.
Now, here's the argument that some people have made, because I was looking up debate about this, because this is something that apparently there's discussion about online about. Don't ever call the fire department to put a battery in. That's so soft. Unless, obviously, you're unable to, right?
My mom, and so my aunt Surrection, she can't even, like, she's older. She got health problems. I have to carry everything upstairs for her. Mm-hmm. There's like, when I go over to my mom's house, there's a lot of things just on the bottom of the stairs. They're just meant for me to carry up for her. Little things. And, like, I just do it, right? And my mom she's older too, and they're like old Italian women, and old Italian women like have, like, at least those two, they feel like they're completely helpless. Like, my mom feels like she's completely helpless, like that she could do nothing without a man. She's always felt like that. And so, like, it's just a mindset. Like, can you do this? Sure, I'll do it for you. I have no problem doing it for you. But it's just a completely helpless feeling that she has. So if it's that, I've got no issue with them calling the fire department. If it's like if it's you, like a regular adult, not an older person,
I would not do that. I typically pull them off of the wall. I don't think we have any smoke detectors left in our apartment. But the thought process is out there that says, if it's a service they provide, why is it wrong to take advantage of it, Chop?
Because they have other jobs to do. They're not hired to replace your batteries in your smoke detector.
A lot of feedback here on the Frankel and Frankel injury attorneys fan text. 214, the smoke detector, some leases require the landlord to do it. 214, there should be a service for first-time dads to learn the car seats. You'd make bank. 817, luckily,
Boy,
Bob.
that's a great. Yeah, that is.
It would.
I mean, I'll remember putting my car seat that latch up top.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tight, making sure that it's tight. I made sure this thing was there was not even a little bit of wiggle. I could not. Getting this thing out took me longer than putting it in because you had to wedge your finger in there. But I remember taking a broomstick, wrapping it around, getting in the front seat, and then like just using that to pull back. It was.
That's intense. Very good for you.
Man.
You didn't have to call the fire department, though.
No.
817, luckily, Bobby just calls maintenance to do it. 817, police officer here had someone call 911 because their child wouldn't eat their dinner. 956, I don't have a problem with it. The majority of guys these guys' day is spent hanging out, maybe working out, playing cards, cooking food. They want something to do, is what 956 is saying.
Oh, from the fire department? That's what they do?
The idea that there's a lot of guys who they'd like to have something to do, so sure.
If you're older, I've got no problem with it. But, somebody like Bobby, like I would just, Peyton. I guess the other side would be is if you have like 30-foot ceilings and you don't have an extension ladder.
So like Sean Sharif ceilings. And
those would be, some of those are high.
Palatial estate.
Some of the, that one,
Sean
the
Mahal.
one by the dining room, that's high. That's very high. I don't know how you would get up there.
Yeah, look. I mean,
you would need to go and get one of those extension ladders. All right, then maybe.
Good to be the king, Sean Mahal out there. All right, we are doing Neighborhood Watch here on 105.3 The Fan. Chop, do you miss vending machines?
I mean, there's one right there.
No, but do you miss the days of just like, I don't know. Sometimes I look at like when we were in Oxnard, I was doing my laundry and I saw one of those old like 1990 Cindy Crawford vending machines. I was like, I miss the
Did Cindy pop out of it?
No, I miss the thrill of the like just having the quarters going up as a kid and putting them in and pushing that little button with the old Pepsi logo.
Yeah.
Vending machines could be on the comeback in Dallas County, but they're not the vending machines that you are thinking of, Chop. These are meant to reduce overdose deaths. The city of Dallas, or Dallas County.
Hang on. You got a Narcan vending machine? Is that what this is?
So far in 2024, there have been 292 overdose deaths in Dallas County. opioids were involved in 117 cases, 101 were fentanyl related, and 74 people overdosed on methamphetamines. As a result, this according to the Dallas Observer, you might start seeing a different kind of vending machine popping up around the county. It will carry items like Narcan, drug disposal kits, and educational materials about overdosing. If approved by the county, the dispensers will be installed in areas with high rates of overdoses. They will all be paid for by a $2 million grant to Dallas County Health and Human Services that's meant to cover steps to quickly reduce overdose morbidity and mortality in communities while addressing health disparities, primarily focusing on opioid, stimulant, and polysubstance abuse. Items from the machines will be dispensed free of charge. You can get your free Narcan at the vending machine. Your thoughts on this, Chop?
I mean, I don't really have a problem with it.
No, I don't either. I mean, especially if it's a grant. Like, it's a grant that's been given to them. The money needs to be spent. I don't have an issue with it. So I have no problem with it.
Look, I remember there was a story a few years ago. There were like certain cities were giving away like drug paraphernalia. Like, remember they were just giving away pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is that they knew people were going to do it anyway. And they just wanted to make sure that they were clean, because that would cause more problems down the line with dirty needles and stuff. All right, that's a whole different topic.
That's a completely different topic.
That's a whole different topic, but still, like, it's in the same vein. Like, you know people are going to do it, so we're trying to Boy, I said vein.
Said the same vein. No, that's what they're trying to avoid, Chop.
But like, I understood like hey, like, it's going to happen anyway, so let's just like make sure it's clean. This is like a safety thing. You don't want people dying.
No, I think
they're going to do it anyway.
I think it's far easier to justify the Narcan than that you're talking about. Now, here's the other opportunity, though, for you, Chop. These things are also apparently going to carry contraceptives, a little protection for the fellas. And if you know that there's a vending machine nearby, you're driving by late at night, these are meant for, in areas of the city that have issues with overdoses and stuff like that. But if you know they're dispensing free, aren't you just going to stop by and just press B3?
I mean, yeah, it used to be 25 cents a pop in the bathroom.
Back when you could put quarters in and get a pack of cigarettes out, too. Gosh, I still saw one of those in Jacksonville when I went to Jacksonville last year, because that's
a cigarette machine?
Yeah.
There's one over here. I saw one at
Inwood Tavern.
Inwood Tavern. That's what I was saying.
One.
Yeah, they got one.
Jacksonville still.
I didn't care for their selection.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't care for this. I don't smoke anymore, but I do look. Because I don't even know like what the new ones are. Like if I had stopped smoking like 20 years ago, I don't think I would know what Marlboro 27s are, or those are, I don't remember like 20 years ago if they were out.
Is it because they kill you? They call it Marlboro 27s for the 27 Club?
They all do.
They do. We're doing the neighborhood watch here on 105.3 The Fan. A North Texas pastor is in a little bit of trouble, Chop. The former senior pastor at North Dallas Church has been charged with soliciting a sex worker. In May, Taryn Dames, while senior pastor at North Dallas Community Bible Fellowship, was arrested and charged with solicitation of prostitution. Plano police said Dames contacted an undercover police officer who he believed was a sex worker on May 2nd. And here's my question for you. Be careful with this answer,
I've not used one.
Agreeing to pay $150 for full service. What do you think that means your $150 gets you, Chop? And does that sound like a reasonable price to you?
I assume
we might have more on this at 8:20. By the way, when Chop tells us about the lady who's charging her husband for relations.
Oh my God! I assume that means everything. I don't know. Like, what
do they have? Like, is this like Disney Plus? Like, do they have subscription packages?
I don't know. I don't know where to. I assume it means everything. Would I be wrong?
Is it also like Netflix, where it's like, if you want to add a second user to this experience, you're going to have to double your cost?
My assumption is it means everything. Would I be incorrect?
It just says full service. It does not get into the specifics. That's what I'm asking you.
I think we know what it means. I think it says it in the phrasing. full service.
I feel like, and look, obviously this is an undercover operation, right? So they're not worried about the specifics of it. But if you're legitimately offering those services, Chop, aren't you? I think you need to have outlined like, yeah, but look, that's not carte blanche here. Like full service means certain things. Like we've got to make sure that this is spelled out. You don't want somebody to hit you on a contract loophole.
Yeah, I would assume like that people in that industry don't want to put too many things in writing for their protection and the other the.
You would guess.
Are they called Johns? Is that what they're called still? Johns?
I think so. I mean, they were in the 1990s anyway. Back when Jacksonville was selling cigarette machines in their bars.
I think that everybody wants to keep that kind of on the down low.
Shout out to our official high school girls softball team of the morning show, the Keller Indians. Keller High School softball was recognized by the city of Keller for the wonderful recognition of their amazing 2024 team. So they had an opportunity to go up to City Hall and were recognized for the great run that they had. Fell a little short against Denton Geyer. I still got a lot of Geyer softball.
Was that
folks.
semifinals they lost or the finals?
Yeah, they lost right before going to state. So they were going to go to the semifinals, and then it would have been semifinals and then final in Austin, but played in Austin. So they basically got to the Elite Eight is where they were. It was a great run. Like I said, fell a little short. But they were. I still got some Denton Geyer softball folks that are not fans of me because of that.
Yeah, you really kind of went. You went a little hard.
I don't think I went
you
that
called
hard.
him Denton Beyer, didn't
I call him Denton Tired.
Oh, tired.
Tired. But what did you think you called him?
Beyer.
But I
like they're paying off the umpire. They're buying kids. They got big NIL deals up there.
I was calling every team they played something like as a joke. Like it was like they would say they were playing the Eaton Eagles, and I would say Eaton Eagles. Keller's going to be Eaton Eagles tomorrow night. You know what I mean? Like I would do that kind of thing. And so I was trying to find. I couldn't find anything that rhymed with Geyer. Even the only thing that I could come up with was tired. It was like Denton Tired. It took me 20 minutes in there. Denton what?
Liar.
Denton Liar. I don't know that translates necessarily.
Beyer would have been.
Beyer would have been there, but I mean, then we're looking at accusations that the state would have to investigate, and so I don't want to put that on my conscience.
So were you really surprised that parents of kids who were in this thing got upset?
Parents, it was one of the coaches. One of the coaches got like worked up.
Yeah.
One of the coaches got worked up, and then tweeted at me. I saw that they worked there, and then they took that they worked there out of their bio, and I was like, okay, you clearly got a little aggressive with it. But look, I shout out to Denton Geyer. I was very proud of them. I'm North Texas all the way around.
Absolutely.
So no hard feelings. It was nothing like that. I love Denton Geyer. I'm going to go watch some Denton Geyer football here in a couple weeks when the season starts. But that is your Neighborhood Watch here on 105.3 The Fan.
Oh, man, from the 817. Tired of hearing about the Keller girls softball team, the snobs of the town.
Whoa!
Wow, you must be a Fossil Ridge guy. Central, huh?
Look, it's all DFW. It's all love at the end of the day.
Love. All love, boys and girls. All right, a little Neighborhood Watch action for you here on 105.3 The Fan. Horrible news. Horrible for the University of Texas. Jim Harbaugh gets the most toothless punishment ever and more drama out of Colorado. College football kegger. You ask for more, you're getting it next on The Fan.
You can either go to Bobby's place after the show to hear more.
Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey Sports Station. From our Hiley Mazda of Arlington and Hearst studios, this is Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan.
I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
Well, I win. Google me.
We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger down here.
I'll tell you where Lou Holtz is. Lou Holtz is just kind of enjoying life, I'm sure, enjoying retirement or coaching retirement on TV still.
I'm sure being stressed about something. How are we going to do that?
Oh, they put their pants on the same way you do. Bad news for Bobby's University and Peyton's University of Texas Longhorns. They have lost running back C.J. Baxter to a season-ending knee injury. Now, in the NFL, I'd be like, not a big deal. College, the feature running back is still a very important part of college football because a feature running back in college football, a really, really good one, will average you about 8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Right, it's not. You're not getting 3 and 4 yards a carry in college. Like if you're a tremendous running back, you're going to average like 8 yards a carry.
We've had some bad luck at the University of Texas with.
That's what
running
they call
backs.
it, kids. That's what they call it. The most underachieving athletic department in sports calls it bad luck.
We've had bad luck with injuries at the running back position. That's true. C.J. Baxter was the starter last year. He hurts his foot. He misses a couple games then. Jonathan Brooks took over and seized the job. Then Jonathan Brooks rips up his ACL near the end of last year and was done for the year, and Baxter got the job back. And now this happens to C.J. Baxter. So,
by the way, he was the first true freshman to start the season opener since Peyton at Texas.
Bijan Robinson.
No.
Cedric Benson.
Ricky Williams. The first true freshman to start the season opener. And he left the game with 38 yards on 5 carries and a rib injury.
So he's hurt his rib, his foot, and
now his ACL.
So that's wonderful. We've just had, like I said, that is bad luck.
Yeah,
a lot of things have been in our control. A lot of things we've screwed up ourselves at the University of Texas. And yes, fan text, I see you. I see you guys saying, Bobby Payton, stop saying we. I'm going to say we. Because the T-shirt Texan is still a Texan. You know what I mean?
That's
what
right.
I say.
Yeah, buddy. Is this a season killer? No. It's a depth issue. At the NFL level, injuries do kill teams. At the college level, they hurt. But, I mean, you've got 100 scholarship athletes. And a team like Texas probably has another 4-star running back right behind him. That'll be just fine.
Yeah, but I mean, C.J. Baxter is...
good player.
He's a really good player. I mean, he was I think he was the number 1 running back coming out of his recruiting class.
Yeah, he was number 30 overall.
Yeah, and so he's a stud.
Yes, he is.
And last year they were able to fall back on Jonathan Brooks, who was arguably the top running back in the draft last year, ended up in Carolina.
Yeah, but a school like Texas, I mean, everybody who goes there probably has NFL aspirations. If you get a scholarship at a school like Texas, you probably have, it's in your head that you've got a legitimate chance to make the NFL. Which means that the backup for C.J. Baxter is probably a 4-star player.
I mean, yeah, you typically, like Texas.
Because I think Texas, has like 75% of their roster makeup as 4 or 5-star guys.
Oh, has it gone down? Is that what it is?
Was it higher?
I'm kidding.
Because they're generally among the leaders. I mean, should be at least.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, they do have they've got a deep roster, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's Jaden Blue was a 4-star prospect. He's right behind. And yeah, you stack them up. You continue to move forward. Put your head down. Keep it going. But I mean, this is
keep grinding.
This is tough. The last 2 years, just how many injuries CJ's had to deal with.
Yeah, it really is. It does stink for him. They'll still be good though. They got a good offensive line and a loaded room. Oh man, the NCAA, in all their power, has handed down a 4-year show cause penalty to Jim Harbaugh for impermissible contact with recruits and players while restricted during the COVID pandemic, banning him from college athletics until August of 2028. Again, he is banned from coaching the University of Michigan until August of 2028. Terrible news for Jim he's at the LA Chargers. Oh, man. How is he going to handle this punishment, Bobby?
Well, let's see here.
What a toothless punishment this is.
So when is he eligible to coach again?
August of 2028.
Okay, so that would be 1 year before
he gets
his
fired.
Contract with the Chargers runs out.
Right.
So
what?
I told you the NCAA
joke.
is spineless. This is why they aren't going to do S.
No,
to Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore is going to coast because
he's going to get a show cause.
This isn't even related to the sign stealing.
No, but Sharon Moore is going to be related to COVID recruiting as well.
But I'm saying Sharon Moore, that like they're going to go hard on Harbaugh here because that's the only option they have. It makes them look like they're tough when in reality they're not. It's the same thing as like when you cut some practice squad guy or some back end of the roster guy for an issue or they did something wrong, and then you try to hold that up as like, yeah, we don't tolerate things like that around here with this football team. But then, you know, if your star player does it, then you're like, well, you know, I mean, there's context here.
Look, they're not going to take any wins away, and nor should they. Because I don't believe that you can just remove titles. We've seen it. The memory. What's more important? The banner at the Globe or your memory of the final out?
Okay, but why did it get taken away?
What's that?
Like if you were to take away stuff based on COVID recruiting.
Yeah, because they're not going to take it away because it's not players that were playing illegally. They were not there because they were paid.
But even if they did,
they were.
Like we talked about the other day with USC. Well, Reggie Bush was ineligible.
Right. That's different.
But again, it's also like, I don't care.
I don't care either. But the NCAA views that so they would take away wins if the players were ineligible. The players weren't ineligible here.
Right. So what I'm saying, though, is I don't think that matters. But if you told me Texas had done something to cheat the system, like had done something to cheat within games a la Astros, and you took away the banner, that sucks. And I'm feeling it.
It sucks, but I
don't think I feel like they won if that happens.
To me, the championship's about in the moment. Like, you don't worry about the championship anymore.
Of course, you're justifying this Astros fan.
Oh, stop it. Yeah, like, you know, in the moment, it doesn't change how you felt in the moment. And
It doesn't change how I felt in the moment, but then it's also like, okay, well, I guess that wasn't ever really real because they cheated.
Yeah, but in the moment, again, like it's at the championship is felt at the time. Not 20 years later.
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, the Cowboys fans really feel the championship being 30 years ago.
Yeah. See, if you were to take away all the banners from the Cowboys, it wouldn't matter one bit. If you were alive and you saw them, you got the benefit of the title. And now, I mean, we're so far away from the title, we don't remember them anyway.
I mean, I do. I remember
where I was. I was line dancing during the last Super Bowl.
Were you?
Yeah.
What was the song?
I have no idea. It was at the Colorado Cafe. It was a Sunday night. All right, that's what we did every Sunday night. We went country dancing every Sunday night in high school.
If Bubba can dance.
Because my parents, my dad was like, I don't watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch football.
Why?
So he just did. So it was never on. So
baseball purist.
He was a baseball purist. So Harbaugh gets this ridiculous BS punishment that won't matter one bit. Did you see the Colorado edit, Bobby Belt?
I did. Gosh, it was bad.
Try to explain this to me.
All right,
because Colorado posted a different photo and a different video saying, no, this is the real thing. But that was debunked too.
Yeah, so this is it's bad. This essentially is you see Shedeur Sanders drop back and throw the ball down the field. And it's like from a far away shot. Like he rips the ball down the field and the camera goes up to track it. And then as it comes down, you see the receiver catch the ball, like make a crazy catch in the end zone. The problem is the trajectory of where the kid caught the ball versus the trajectory of the ball that Shedeur had thrown. There's zero chance. This was a high arcing ball that Shedeur had thrown. And when you see the cut, it's so clear. Like that was a line drive that was just thrown to this kid that he caught. And so it was clearly a bit of fake news, bit of editing. And they took the two shots and in the transition of following the ball in the sky, they do this rapid kind of cut that makes it look like that was the throw that he caught. And he didn't. It's a bad looking edit. And this is really bad coming on the heels of the Colorado story we got earlier this week, where we had a lot of people telling us, no, that was the fake thing, was that Colorado story.
Oh, that was proven even more real.
Yeah.
Like other people have come out with the same story, and showing that is 100% true.
Because you were starting to doubt it a little bit yesterday. When you got like 2 or 3 messages, you're like, "Are we sure? Are we sure this is real?"
I just asked, "Are we sure this is real?"
No, but like you got enough of them that you're like, "Did we miss something here?" And then it's like, "No, it's
real.
That's what's going on."
Yeah, you base it on a lot of on the publication. Athlon's pretty legit.
Athlon's become pretty legit over time.
So Arkansas trolled them with their quarterback throwing a screen pass, followed by a quick cut to a deep bomb.
Yeah.
And then Colorado claps back with, "Yeah, guys, this is the real video unedited." And it was a pass thrown. The way it was thrown, you see a guy on the wrong sideline, the same guy on the wrong sideline of both videos. And I was like, okay, you just proved that it was a fake video.
Have you ever seen Usual Suspects?
Kaiser Sose, absolutely.
Or not Usual Suspects, The Untouchables. Have you ever seen The Untouchables?
No.
Okay, The Untouchables was a Brian De Palma film. It was, That's the Chicago Way. It's Sean Connery and the story of Al Capone. They used to have some of the worst edits where they would take these, like a shot of, an opera singer here, and here's Al Capone in the audience listening to it. And it was so clearly 2 different shots that they had spliced together, and it looked really awful. That looked better than what Colorado edited yesterday. The Colorado edit was like, Ryan. They should hire Ryan. Ryan would have made sure that was a cleaner looking edit.
Man, you mean broadcast director of the evening news in West Texas, Ryan.
He's already got a bigger title than I do.
Man. Appalachian State. Let's head on over there. One player was caught beating another player with his own helmet. This is a Myles Garrett situation. This is baby Myles. So this guy, he rips the helmet off and just starts obliterating his teammate with this. So there was this play happens, great swim move in there, and all of a sudden he rips the helmet off of the offensive lineman, runs it back, and then bam! Now, he had the Guardian cap on.
Thank God. GuardianSports.com.
Absolutely.
You can enter on the 105 through the fan contest page for a set of 10 Guardian caps for your team this season.
But here we go. We get an App State football player just absolutely unloading on an offensive lineman. He rips his helmet off and then swings on him. Big yikes.
Yeah, that's that's the kind of thing. You remember when it happened with Myles Garrett? There was talk from a lot of people that, like, you could charge him with,
That was Mason Rudolph?
Yep.
Do we ever know what happened? Did Mason say something that, I know that was the initial.
At the time, there was no report on what he said. I think that was a controversy because at first he just said he said some stuff, and that's all he said. And it was months later, I think Myles Garrett came out and claimed that Mason Rudolph called him a racial slur. And so that was something where there was a controversy there where it's like, well, why'd you just say he said some stuff? Why didn't you say what it was then? That would have done a lot to help clear you at the time. But that was the accusation there. Now, Mason Rudolph also has a history of being kind of a punk. So even if it wasn't that, I'm sure he did probably draw him off sides pretty heavily with some talk in his ear. But this is when that happened at the time. A lot of people were saying Myles Garrett has to be arrested, like prosecuted for this. That's a weapon. Like swinging like that is worthy of assault.
I don't really care for using the law for on the field issues.
Now there's got to be a limit to that.
There's a limit to that. Like
did Albert Hainsworth get prosecuted for the stomp?
I don't remember. Like there's a limit that, like when hockey, if you do a high stick on somebody, that's one thing. But if you do the whole Donald Brashear, that did get prosecuted, right?
Yeah.
Was it McSorley that did that?
Was it him or Bertuzzi? I thought it was Todd Bertuzzi. I don't know.
But that's different. And this may be different as well because you are using that as a weapon. It's Sean and RJ on 105 through the fan. A little college football kegger for you. Men, what would you do if your wife started to try to charge you for relations?
Start saving my money.
Do that next on the fan.
Uber Eats has low fee products? I gotta remember that.
Well, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No,
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
here on 105.3 The Fan segment here, brought to you by State of the Art Lost That's Soda, Cars for Kids. Donate today at carsforkids.org, and also brought to you by the personal injury lawyers Frankel and Frankel. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first, 214-817-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there is never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car and truck attorneys in Dallas.
Haters 1-0. Swing and a ball popped up right side of the infield. Altuve onto the outfield turf, makes the easy catch. The ball game is over, and the Houston Astros will take this series 2-1. They take the season series 7-6 as they win here this afternoon by the final score of 6-4.
Hicksy with a call to game you heard right here. Rangers lose by that 6-4 score. They lose the series to the Astros. They lose 2 out of 3. The Rangers now head to the White House today. We'll have talk to Jared Sandler at 9 o'clock. They're at the White House today because they won the World Series last year. I don't know if you heard that, Bobby. They won the World Series last year.
I did. They won it fair and square, too.
They did.
That's
and
the first fairly acquired World Series trophy in the history of the state of Texas.
That's true. Absolutely true. So they win it last year, which means they get to go to the White House. They're there today. And then they will take the train up to New York City, and they will play the Yankees for a weekend set. They will face Garrett Cole. They will face Garrett Cole, which you generally try to avoid him if you can.
You try.
But they will get Garrett Cole. Hader gets the save in this one. He's, as the kids would say, he's buns. I'm not a fan.
I know you hated.
He's trash, kid.
He's trash, man. He's trash.
You hated the idea of trading for him last year at the deadline. You remember that was one of the names we got, and wasn't he a free agent that they were being discussed as too? So yeah, like he's had a bit of a rough year.
Yeah, not a huge fan. I mean, he was great last year, but he pulled that BS where he didn't want to pitch. I'll pitch. I want a 4-out save. I'm not doing a 4-out save. He's a loser, bit of a loser. Yeah. So we'll talk to Sandman at 9 o'clock. Yeah. But let's do some stories that we haven't caught up on over a week.
Yeah, let's do them. In fact, I'm gonna text Kristen right now and tell her you're doing this topic.
This is a transactional relationship, to say the least. A man has filed for divorce from his wife after she demanded that he pay for relations.
Oh, baby.
Now, she says he was overweight and bad in...
Wow.
She's like, if it was just one.
Yeah. If it was just one of the two...
Both, you're paying up.
But she said that he was overweight, and so this guy he married in 2014. They have 2 kids. Problems began 3 years later after his soulmate restricted relations to once a month.
Okay,
all right. 2 years later, she refused to have relations with him at all, and reportedly told his relatives that he was too fat and incompetent.
Why is she telling them this?
So,
she's like, hey, guys, I just wanted to update you on how your son's doing.
So, Sarah's been watching 90 Day Fiancé, and there's a couple on there, and the guy, and this story takes place in Taiwan. There's a guy from, I think he's from Korea, Asian country, but he says, like, in Asia, like, it's like weight is a big deal.
But why?
And, like, he calls, like, the girl that he's dating in this 90 Day Fiancé, who's not that overweight. She's not overweight at all. He calls her Piggy because she's just like a little plump in his eyes. So, like, I don't know if that's like a major issue.
That's a Lamar Jackson issue. Did you see Lamar Jackson yesterday?
No.
Said he dropped some weight this offseason because when he watched himself last year, he said, I thought I looked fat. Lamar Jackson, of all people, who people were like, that dude's too skinny, he's going to break down. Lamar Jackson says, when I was watching tape, I looked fat.
Oh.
So I lost some weight this offseason.
So frustrated over the forced abstinence, he filed for divorce, but walked back the lawsuit after she promised to work on the relationship. He even registered their home in her name just to keep her. Man,
she got you, bro.
Yeah.
She got you.
But she reverted back to her blocking ways shortly after, charging him. What money amount do you think she charged him, Peyton, per encounter?
$78.45.
That's an oddly specific number. Bobby? Or have you read the story?
I've read the story, but here's the thing that I need to know. Is this in Taiwan currency or has this been USD?
I don't. It's.
I think this is Taiwan, because that would be what the report is.
Yeah.
And
is
so
that yen?
if it's the Taiwan dollar or whatever it is.
Oh.
I looked it up last night. $15 chop is the number right there. That's 48 cents US dollars.
Interesting.
I'd pay 48 cents.
I would pay 48 cents too.
No.
Bro, I was just talking about how much I miss Coke machines for 50 cents. You're telling me I get to pocket 2 pennies and get something better than a Pepsi?
This is not the first time someone has opposed for a pay-for-play policy an NIL deal on their partner. In 2014, another woman in Taiwan charged her truck driver husband $60, as well as meals and chats on the basis that he didn't contribute enough money to the family. This is amazing.
Damn.
This is amazing.
What is she doing there, though? Look, because that's like the whole, in order to get this job, you got to have experience. Well, how do I get experience unless you give me the job?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're upset that he's not making enough money, how do you expect that, like, having him churn out cash every time and take you on dates is all of a sudden going to make him more rich?
How do you get a part in a movie? You got to have an agent. How do you get an agent? You got to have a part in a movie.
Exactly.
It's a circle of life. According to divorce attorneys, the two main reasons couple gets divorced are money problems and issues in the boudoir.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to this entire. I'm not saying the 3-letter word. I'm trying to use different words.
I could tell. I was reading along with it, and I saw you substituting.
Just substituting all kinds of words. All right.
Usually you say the word, but you say it in a certain way. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be fun. I'm just trying to be different. Right? I'm not saying it today. I'm not saying it.
Sure.
So, how much do you charge? How much is Mackenzie charging Peyton?
Ooh. How much is he willing to pay?
And
how much is she going to charge?
And how much are you willing to pay?
Well, let's see. So if I pay $100, that's about $50 per minute here is what we're getting. So
we break it down that way.
Yeah.
He breaks it down to a per minute.
How much am I charging? Or
No. How much would she charge you?
And how much?
How much you be willing to pay?
You know what? She wouldn't charge a thing.
Peyton, you're not.
Take that.
You play along.
Peyton, imagine things get to a point where she's like, "I'm gonna charge you."
All right. $95. Less than 100.
A session?
Yes.
You would pay $95?
Well, she would charge $95. I didn't say I'd pay it.
Whoa.
Sooner or later, you're going to pay it.
What would you pay then?
$95.
That's why they're meant to be.
Yeah.
They view cost-benefit analysis the same way.
Man.
All right, RJ, your turn. Come on, let's go around the room.
$95. I mean, that's... I don't want to start a precedent here. That's the problem. You start a precedent.
That's $5 a week.
That's $5 a week. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's a mortgage payment. That's what you're paying to rent your house. Is that money? Boy, I don't know. I would say... Because you get into doing it too many times, and it's going to get costly.
It is.
It's going to get costly. So let's see. I'm trying to do some math here. I think I would go as high as... I would go higher. But I think the fair number would be $50 based on the amount of times that we engage.
$50. Okay, now, with this question...
That's probably $1.
Wait, that's what you would charge, or that's what you would be willing to pay?
She would charge. She would charge less.
Come on, value yourself, Sarah.
Yeah, she would charge like $3.
Peyton's out here trying to spend $95. You're charging less than $50.
Yeah, she would charge $3. Yeah, because if you do it like once a week, $95 is no problem. If you do it 5 times a week, that becomes quite costly. Quite costly.
It does. It does indeed. Now, what I want to know is, like, are there stipulations on this?
And by the way, when you purchase it, do you get it for the entire day? Like, do you
exactly.
Do you get a membership for the day?
Is it a day pass?
Yeah.
Or is it like a
individual instance?
Or is it like parking at DFW Airport, where it's like it costs this much if you're in here for 20 minutes, it costs this much if you're in here for an hour. And then it's like.
By the way, I picked my mom up from the airport the other day. I was in there for 30 minutes tops, and it was like $8 or $5 or something. Like, what are we doing?
I would think it would be similar also to the DFW airport parking, where it's like, if you're in here for 0 to 8 minutes, it actually costs more than if you're in here for 8 to 30.
The Fantex, like, can you do a monthly subscription?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, can I get Kristen Plus? Right? Like,
Yes.
can I bundle this? By the way, the answer to this is Kristen and I both have a tendency to Google things. Like, it's like, how much does this cost? I don't know. Google it. So, I mean, given what we talked about yesterday in the Neighborhood Watch, or earlier in the Neighborhood Watch, where $150 for full service.
Yeah.
I think that we would both Google and we would see that number, and so we'd
come to a deal. It's a fair deal. So I think maybe
not just a deal.
$150. Yeah, I think 150 is fair. That's fair. But I mean, as the fan text says, I would just pay one of her relatives for cereal. That's what the fan text says. That's what you gotta do.
No, she's much better looking than her sister. So
yeah. So this thing. So have you seen the astronauts that are trapped at the International Space Station?
No.
You have not seen this?
I've not seen this.
Okay, so these two astronauts.
I care about what happens on this Earth, not on Mars. Okay.
Well, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. So
does sound like how younger Peyton Russell names.
It
I have
does.
no idea.
Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams went up on went to the International Space Station, and so they were going to make the trip on this Boeing Starliner. Well, because it's a Boeing, it broke. And this 8-day trip that they're on, they believe they are going to be stranded up there at the International Space Station until 2025.
So they'll be back on Earth before, like, Jim Harbaugh's suspension is over.
Yes, they'll be back on Earth. I don't know if they'll be back on Earth before the Boeing problems are solved, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, normally Boeing's issue is not keeping people in the air.
It's not.
That's not like... I think this is a success.
This is a
success.
Figure
out whatever happened here and apply that to your 737 Max or whatever.
They are... This is amazing, because like Boeing's taking the this is too literally. They're keeping them in the air too long now. It's
just like, oh, you want them in the air? Fine,
Yeah,
we'll put them in
fine.
the air.
Bet.
Put them in the air for 2 years.
This is something Bobby would do. This is like Bobby's like, you're going to call me out? You're going to say that? Oh, I will show you.
You want me to take 2 shots? I'll take 4.
I'll take 4. That's exactly what this
You're
is.
complaining. All you guys do is bitch that we can't keep a plane in the air. Fine, I'll keep a whole damn spaceship up there for a year.
Yep, it's crazy. So they're saying now, and they announced that another delay in bringing them home. They're looking more closely at an alternative plan utilizing SpaceX's Crew 9 mission. So using Elon Musk to come save the day. But who knows when that's going to happen, because Crew 9's return flight is not till February.
Ooh. By the way, 817, there's no air in space, Bobby. Boeing's still failing us. Yeah, I know 817. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh, so they wouldn't be up in the air. They'd be up in space.
They're in the atmosphere. They're past the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is. So,
What's coming up in Below the Belt?
We got Brian Broaddus
Yes,
joining
we
us
do.
again for his daily 840 segment, and he's done the research. He's dove in on these 3 defensive players that they signed. We're going to find out if they got any players next in Below the Belt on the Fan.
Let's get you over to SotaWeightLoss.com, SOTA weightloss.com. You got to hit that request a nutritionist call.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen that before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like, your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean, like, this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, you're freaking me out a little bit.
And it's back to Sean and RJ right here on 105.3 The Fan segment here, brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine is the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, enjoy the difference based on new Chevrolet registrations 2023.
The great Bobby Belt.
You ruined the morning show.
Don't make me take off my belt.
Don't make me
take off my belt. We're not.
Over to you, Bobby.
Oh, boy. We got real deal football today, RJ Choppy.
Oh, baby. Do we?
Sort of, as close as you can get. Doesn't it feel like the joint practice is more of a football experience than the preseason game? Like,
yeah, because you're actually seeing the starters play.
And they get chippy, and they get a little angry, a little on edge, stuff like that. So we're actually going to get that today when the Los Angeles Rams and the Dallas Cowboys show up for a practice. Now, here's the question. Now that the Rams have been out there for a while, Chop, what do you think the split is in the stands, the fan split? It's not been the greatest showing for Cowboys fans out there yet.
Yeah, I wonder with this because I have no frame of reference on right now on what the crowds are like week 2. You know, other than the videos you can see. It's still during the day on a weekday. I would assume it's 60-40 Cowboys.
Okay. I think that might be, I think 60-40 would be a disappointment.
Why?
Because typically the Cowboys have run SoCal more than the Rams have. It's just this year, things might have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
We will get to more details on the Cowboys and Rams practice and get to Brian Broaddus here in just a moment.
He's here.
But before we do, Brian Broaddus is not here. He's in Oxnard. He's sitting on those tennis courts out there.
Menard.
So, Brian, you're going to miss the G-Bag Nation remote at Hurtado Barbecue today. But I wanted to be a good teammate, so I'm going to go up there at 2 o'clock, and I'm going to hang out for an hour. So I'll be there in your stead for the first hour. Not on the air, I don't think, but like just hanging out at least. And anybody who wants to go out there and see your G-Bag Nation teammates, 2 to 7 p.m. Central today at Hurtado Barbecue in Mansfield, and then get one of those nice etched G-Bag Nation glasses thanks to Stella Artois.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, and good morning to you both.
Morning.
The glasses are beautiful. Hurtado has great barbecue, and we're going to have a really good broadcast today because you guys mentioned we got the Rams practicing today. So the first 2 hours of the show, I'm going to be hanging out with the guys, And then I'm going to go away for a couple hours and then come back in the 6 o'clock hour and then recap this thing as we put a bow on it. So should be a fun-filled day of football talk. I'm sure we'll do a little Rangers talk and Olympic talk. That seems to be the direction our show's going these days.
Yeah, it's been good shows. I got to say, I'm genuinely, this is no fluff. I've genuinely been impressed with how you guys have handled the interaction of a big show while having one person remote. That can be a difficult thing sometimes.
We learned how to do this during that pandemic.
You figured it out.
We did.
It's amazing.
The Zoom stuff, it wasn't perfect by any means, but I think folks are a little bit more accepting of like, okay, they're trying. It's not perfect, but yeah, I mean, literally before, I'm sitting here listening to you guys do the segment before, and then Peyton goes 1 minute, and the thing then dropped. And so now I'm scrambling to get back online, Peyton working with me, and here we are. So, yeah, it's not perfect, but it is doable. I love being out here, you know that.
Yeah, and we love having you out there and that you'll have eyes on this Rams practice first day. Before we get to that, I know you did a deep dive, a film study on the three guys that the Cowboys signed. You said, I'll be back with reports in hand for you on Thursday morning. Tell us who we have, and are any of these guys potential 53-man roster guys?
Yeah, the one guy, I mean, I don't want to just drone on and on and on about what these guys could do, but I was surprised that, to me, that the linebackers, that they went after a couple of linebackers. That surprised me. I kind of felt like that watching these practices, that these linebackers have done a good job from the top one to, the last one in the room. But, to go out and get Nick Virgil, a veteran guy, and then you go get Darius Harris, they're both kind of special teams guys in a way. You have to go back, and especially with Harris, I mean, they don't play a lot of defensive snaps, and so you have to go back and watch special teams, work with them. But, the thing about with these guys, they do have experience with the staff, and they can play special teams. If they're worried about, okay, do we have enough guys that we feel good about on teams, do we need a couple more veteran guys than maybe some younger guys, this might be the way they go. If you had to tell me which one might be a little bit better player, if having to play more defensive snaps, I think Nick Virgil would be the guy. He's a guy that it kind of fits in the mold of what they're doing here with linebackers that can cover. And that's where I feel like that, the run game stuff for him is good. He's not as fast nor as quick as what you would have with this group here. When you watch these linebackers play at camp, they really run to the ball. And Nick is more of a see it and go guy, but it's not going to be with the burst or that quickness. But he's a really good tackler. And as I mentioned, he played in all the special teams. Harris is a big guy, and he's got his ability is more straight ahead than it is lateral quickness and things like that. I think the straight ahead speed is really, really good, and he's a guy I mentioned that plays on all the teams. The quickness is good, and but when you watch him play, and especially on special teams, he tends to hold. So when a guy is always that grabby, it kind of tells you that maybe.
Oh no!
It makes you say, like, I mean, that's the Cowboys. They're going like, if we just signed a guy that's going to be prone to penalties, you're not going to say that, Brian. I think Chris Beam went over there and was just trying to protect the Cowboys from having to get out that Darius Harris is a little grabby, and they went, pull the plug on this. We're not having this.
Not a fan.
That's what they were doing. We do have Cowboys and Rams practice coming. I will say this about Darius Harris, by the way, who Brian was just talking about there from Kansas City. I do wonder, he mentions that Nick Vigil is more of a coverage linebacker, falls more in line with what they want to do. Harris is a guy who has some pass rush ability, in my opinion. And so I wonder if, Chop, he's a 6'2", 240 guy with 34.5-inch arms, which for reference, I think Micah's 31 5/8 or something. He's a little shorter.
Micah's the same height, right?
Micah's the same height, and so you've got then Darius Harris, who has longer arms than even Micah, at like by 3 inches, even though they're about the same height. DeMarcus Lawrence, for instance, who's a
like DeMarcus Ware had super long arms.
Well, DeMarcus Lawrence, his arms are about a half inch to an inch shorter than Darius Harris, who's a 6'2" linebacker. So there's a lot of length there. There's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of bend. I think Harris the plan with him might be not just special teams, but hey, maybe they have some sort of a vision for situational pass rush if he has to take defensive snaps. And so I think that's part of where his fit might be for them is just with that. Now we do have a list. You know what I've said. Everybody loves lists.
By the way, you said that you liked the joint practices more than the preseason games, right?
Yes, 100%.
I wonder what a guy like Broadish who's been in the league for so long, if he likes these joint practices a lot, or like, because they get chippy.
Yeah, but don't you like that? I mean, McCarthy doesn't.
I mean, is there a danger to it? Let me ask you that. Is there a danger to them? Like, do you risk them getting hurt more in these with some stupid, unnecessary fight or cheap shot than you would in a preseason game?
Maybe. I've got a little bit of the opinion that football's football.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. We can get Brian Broadus's thoughts on it here. Brian, the joint practices.
Yes.
In your opinion, as somebody who's been around the league, do you view them as way more beneficial than a normal practice, or do you look at yourself as like, hey, some of the juice and the intensity we can get there, it opens you up to potentially some recklessness, like Mike McCarthy has talked about this week, that hey, I don't want to see any fights out there.
I'm not going to see my starters play on Sunday.
Right.
So this is a really good opportunity for me to see my son. I would play joint practices before I play preseason games if it was me.
Okay.
Just because you can control the tempo of the practice and you can control your quarterback not getting hit, and you can control a lot of things. Yeah, the chippiness comes from, I think what happens is you have to have two coaches. Like when Jeff Fisher brought his team in here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Fisher's kind of a thug coach, and
yeah,
so
Jeff sucked.
And so what happens is he's always going to try and show how big his thing is, that kind of thing. So what's your, when you practice against him, it's always going to be a fight. And so you got to lay out ground rules. This is not something you talk about the day before. This is something you've talked about weeks in advance. That like, listen, we're interested in working with you, but this is how we play. Like the Cowboys here, when they practice, they go 1-versus-1s. Well, maybe the Rams don't do that. Maybe the Rams go. Maybe their twos go against their ones. So you got to kind of have to agree. Like, are we going best offense on best defense? How are we going to play this out? You got to kind of script out. See, two fields will be working, and so you might have 1s and 2s on one field, and then 3s and 4s on the other. And then kind of, but you're always going to be. It's just how you practice. Do you do 9-on-7 run periods? Do you do 7-on-7 pass periods? Do you do 1-on-1 pass rush? There's a lot of things that they have to kind of work through before they can get out here and practice. But I really do like it just from the aspect of I'm not going to see my starters play on Sunday. This is a good opportunity for them to get some work.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions and Giants had a fight. I mean, you could have seen that coming from a mile away. Those coaches are kind of meatheads. Like, you could see that, right?
Yeah, you've got one team trying to establish something, with not established. The Lions have already clearly established who they are. And the Giants we've seen are kind of a team in turmoil, and they've got a coach that's on that's struggling to keep his job. They got a quarterback that nobody really likes. There's a lot of things, and a lot has to do with the way the practice. If you practice against a team and it's extremely hot outside, people get irritable when it's hot. I mean, you guys are living it right now. People get mad, and you feel like that you kind of got wronged, and then you're going to take a shot, and the next thing you know, everybody's going to get in a fight, and that part of it, I mean, that part of it, I could do without.
All right, Brian, we're running out of time. I know Choppy still wants one, so just a name for me. When you're out at this practice today, give me the name of the guy that you're really going to be locked in on watching how he practices today.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that Guyton gets the opportunity to practice at left tackle. That's something to me. I'd like to see him against some different competition. He's kind of been working his way back in from his illness right here. I'm interested to see these wide receivers from the Cowboys and how they all have lined up. Since CeeDee Lamb has not been here, though, these guys have shown up pretty well when you start to talk about Tolbert and Cooks, and then also, and Brooks as well. I'm interested to see how, like, a guy like Jalen Cropper, I think they really are looking to see if they're going to carry 6 receivers. The numbers might not allow it, but there's a lot of guys that have shown up at this camp that need one of those days where, like, okay, I see how you're working against us. I'd like to see you work against some others, and that's where you got to keep your head on the swivel right there.
Brought us super quick because the Rangers are going to the White House today. When you won the Super Bowl with Green Bay, was that a thing? Did you go? How was it?
I did not make that trip, and matter of fact, we did go to that trip, and there was a lot of players that didn't want to go on that trip. Bill Clinton was the president at the time, and I remember Mark Chmura was one of those guys that spoke out pretty handedly about it. But, yeah, I did meet Bill Clinton, though, when he came on a campaign stop through Wisconsin. He came and visited us at Lambeau Field. So, yeah, that was my well, besides sitting behind George Bush at the World Series, I sat behind him, and then Chief spilled a vodka tonic or vodka soda on his Secret Service guy when he was saying, it was 2 strikes, and he's like, stand up, everybody, let's go. He was like cheering and was spilling drinks on George Bush's Secret Service detail. Yeah.
Thank you, Broadus. Talk to you tomorrow.
See ya. Bye.
Brian Broadus for in the middle of Below
B-Belt.
Joining us every day this week at 8:40. We'll talk to Jared Sandler from the White House, maybe the Lincoln bedroom, next to the fans. Get you over to
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
From our Highly Mazda of Arlington and Hearst studios, this is Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan.
2-0 pitch. Alvarez swings. That one is rocketed up the alley to right center field. That one is back and out of here. Langford raced after it, but he couldn't even gain enough ground with how hard that ball was hit. 117 miles an hour off the bat, and the Astros lead 2-0.
Jared Sandler with a call to game you heard right here. You can hear all your Ranger games here. We are the home of the Rangers, the home of the world champion Texas Rangers, Bobby. I don't know if you know that.
I do.
But you can hear all those games right here at 105 through the Fan. Rangers lose the series 2-1 to Houston.
Lose the silver boot.
They lose the silver boot as well out at the Globe. 6-4 was the final. Jared Sandler will join us here in just a second from our nation's capital. Happy birthday, though, to Waterburger, the 74th birthday.
Ooh.
And it is National Waterburger Day. And today at Waterburger, all Waterburger Rewards members with an account will receive an offer for a free birthday cake flavored birthday shake.
Let's go.
No purchase necessary. Download the app, create an account, get rewarded with a free Waterburger just for signing up and your free birthday shake.
Looks like a smoke show for 74, man.
Yeah, they do look good for 74.
Absolute smoke show.
Yes, absolutely. Jared Sandler joining us here on 105 through the Fan. Morning, Sam, man.
Good morning, fellas.
What's your Waterburger order?
Gosh, I knew you were going to ask that. Honey butter chicken biscuit at anytime after 11 p.m. Breakfast taquitos in like the traditional breakfast hours. I don't know that I really go there a ton and get like a non-breakfast item, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting.
You should.
I get
You
the,
should. It's good stuff.
I get the double.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Can you hear us?
Sorry. I got Secret Service flanking me, and it's just making the connection really tough.
Is that because...
Are you in the White House? Are you in the White House?
No. It's just because they realize that anyone under 5'8" deserves additional protection. No, I'm just kidding. We're not in the White House. Peyton asked me how the White House was when he called me to come on, and I think he was maybe kidding, but I think he wasn't as well. And it's not like we like sleep there, you know. It's like it would be cool to have a slumber party in the White House. When I was a kid, I used to think playing a game of tag or hide and go seek in the White House was like the ultimate dream. So maybe we can do that today.
Is this your first time back in the Capitol since January 6th?
No comment, Bobby.
Have you been to the White House before?
RJ's more likely to have been there on January 6th than me. We all know that.
My family. Yes, not me.
Family.
Yeah. Have I been to the White House before? Have I been to, was it D.C. or the White House?
The White House. Have you taken like a tour before or anything?
No, I've never been. So my oldest brother went to Georgetown, but you know he's a lot older than I am. So maybe when I was like 6 or 7 when he was here, I maybe like walked by it and like looked through the gate. But I don't even think you really can see much. I think I don't know if I told you guys this or someone else, but when I was probably until I was 11 or 12, I got the Capitol and the White House confused. I thought the White House was the Capitol. I thought the Capitol was the White House because I was an idiot. So I'm only like 20 years old in like terms of knowing what the actual White House is or which building it actually is.
Oh, well, that's good. You figured it out, though. You did it, Jared, and we're proud of you for that.
Hang on a second. Peyton, what is the address of the White House?
He doesn't even know what street it's on.
I don't think so. Washington Way? Yeah, I don't know.
Washington Way.
Washington Way, yeah.
Correct. Washington Way.
One Washington Way. Jared Sandler joining us from Washington, D.C., where the Texas Rangers World Series champion team will be honored at the White House later today. Okay, Jared, so obviously...
Hold on, Bobby. I just want to say something. In defense of my own idiot admission there, what are the chances that if you gave Peyton 6 D.C. buildings, he could identify which one the White House was?
Oh, I think he could identify the look of it. When he sees it,
so,
I would.
Yeah.
I've been to D.C., been inside the White House and the Capitol.
Hey, well.
And you didn't know what address
but
you
didn't put it
out
into Google.
No, because Uber took us there.
Oh, gosh. All right, Jared, so obviously this series did not end the way anybody wanted it to. It started off really strong and looked like there was a late push there in game 2. You know, when you look at the struggles that this team has had and being below 500, is there almost more frustration, you think, for them than if this would have just been some sort of utter collapse where they're in the tank and they're in the cellar and would have been in a position to make easier decisions than where they're at right now, which is some difficult decisions during the trade deadline and then afterwards and trying to figure out exactly what this team is?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think about the 2014 season. The Rangers in 2013 were really good. It was another season that ended poorly, but, going into the offseason, they had acquired Shin-Soo Choo, Prince Fielder. There was a thought that they were going to, run it back and try again to contend. And they had all these injuries. And by June 1st, it was clear that they were it was not going to work that year. And they ended up, with the third worst record in baseball that season. And it was just, a very clear path to the finish line of what that year would look like. And, I think, this year the Rangers were kind of caught in between. They were caught up, with the expectations, building on last year with the potential that this roster clearly has, but had to, balance it with the fact that, up to the point of the trade deadline, the Rangers hadn't and still, I think you still would characterize it that they've underachieved. And, that's always a tough one. When you underachieve, you still, there's always going to be a part of you while the season's still going on, while you're still in the fight that, leads you to think, well, we can still turn it around. And they were, we'll see, when 162 is up, whether this is beneficial or not. But, they're in the one division in the American League where you can be where they are, 7 games under 500, and still not really be out of it. If the Rangers were 8 games over 500 and 5.5 games back of the division, we would have a totally different feel right now. It would seem like they're still playing from behind, obviously, but when you're 8 games up, 8 games over 500, that means you've been playing decent baseball. The problem is the Rangers are 5.5 back or whatever they're back, and they haven't been playing good baseball, and so it's tougher to inspire the confidence that they can turn things around. And you just kind of wonder what the next 6 or so weeks are going to be like.
Jared, on paper, it's a really good matchup on Saturday, Eovaldi and Cole. But Cole hit some fatigue, recently missed a start, and Eovaldi, since the break, has not been great. What's been the issue with him?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. He kind of went through a little bit of a rut last year for a period of time and then straightened it out. The fastball velocity dipped a tick, but that hasn't been an issue this year. I think, the splitter command a couple starts ago was a little bit more of a challenge, but, against the Red Sox, RJ, I just thought, the Red Sox did to Nathan Eovaldi what the Rangers did to so many pitchers last year, which is wait them out, work make them work super hard and, just wear them down and wait for them to make enough mistakes that, they're eventually going to capitalize. I hate saying, the guy only made one mistake. I mean, the reality is pitchers make mistakes, maybe, to every batter sometimes, but, the hitter doesn't always take advantage of it. But the Red Sox took advantage of the mistakes at a higher degree than most do. But, they wore him down. He had to throw, pretty much 20 pitches every inning, it seemed like, and long at bats and battles. And, they took close pitches. And I just thought, I think this Yankees test will be an interesting one, RJ. I just really thought that I came away from that Red Sox series so impressed with them. Because they're not a team that on paper people had, much expectation for, especially their lineup. Their lineup, people looked at and thought, it'd be a good lineup, but talking to people around the league after that series, I was like, hey, what are your thoughts on the Red Sox? I'm super impressed, blah, blah, blah. And I've had a number of people say that, they think the Red Sox have one of the top 5 lineups in the league, not just in the regular season, but the type of lineup that come playoff time could be a real problem because of their athleticism and the way they make people work. And frankly, it was a reminder of what made the Rangers successful last year and some of the areas that maybe they're lacking this year.
Jared Sandler joining us here on 105 through the Fan, joining us on the DNM Leasing Hotline. Jared, Tyler Mahle gets the debut this week, his Rangers debut. Overall thoughts on how he pitched and, the Rangers' expectations for him, I guess, the rest of this season?
Yeah, I thought he looked great. Frankly, should have had 5 shutout, but the Rangers just did not have a great defensive game that that night and definitely didn't, in that inning. But, I thought he did a really nice job. I don't think you can underestimate the challenge of coming back after not pitching for, over 400 days, basically. And Nathan Eovaldi just walked by me. I should have just given him the phone and had him answer your question, RJ. If I was smart, I would have done that.
Yeah.
I also would have told him that Bobby was a hater when the Rangers signed him.
That is a
really
lie. A lie,
that
Jared.
Is not a lie. I was at the airport at DFW. I remember exactly the conversation.
I'm digging the segment up now. You're going to make me go dig it up.
You pointed, you said, oh, well, his velocity dropped for a year, and blah, blah, blah. I think he looked really good. It's not easy coming back, and I still think that you got to leave open the possibility that there's a mixed bag the rest of the year as he knocks off some of the rust. But, the splitter was obviously an impressive pitch. It's one of those things with Mahle. He's not a high velo guy, but he's a high spin rate guy, and his fastball plays so well at the top of the zone, and you can see that on paper, and you can look at the numbers. But then when you finally see it in action, you see the swings guys take against that pitch in person, it's really impressive. So, I said this, I think, prior to the deadline. We were talking about what 2025 looks like. And I'll reiterate, I think that a 1-2, if your 1-2 next year is DeGrom and Mahle, or maybe your 1-2-3 includes Eovaldi, if they bring him back, that is a very, very good 1-2-3 or 1-2. I just think because Tyler Mahle's played for a relatively irrelevant nationally team who the Rangers have not seen very much in the Cincinnati Reds. That's where Mahle, came up. I think it's just for a lot of American League fans and Rangers fans, he's not really a known commodity the way that certain guys are. But he is a really good pitcher, and I think he showed flashes of that for sure in his debut.
Sandler, real quick, what is the next step for DeGrom?
He's facing live hitters today, and then I think he'll do like multiple innings worth of live hitters in a few days, as long as this goes well. And then I think he goes on a rehab assignment. And once he does, there's a 30-day clock. So I think, with this timeline, you're going to see him in early September. I've had people ask, well, what's the point if the Rangers aren't in it? I think the point is you don't want him to go almost 600 days without pitching in a major league game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want him to get out there. You want him to do some of the things that you're going to get with Tyler Mahle is, just knock off the rust and get him back on a big league mound and give him a full off season, not wondering mentally, gosh, what's it going to be like getting back on the mound? Can I do it? All this stuff, letting him do it, and then have an off season where he's healthy and he can get ready for a 2025 season. So hopefully he's pitching in meaningful games for the Rangers. I mean, they got to get to work if that's the case. But, I think whether or not the Rangers are playing meaningful games, I think there's value in getting him back out on the mound.
Really quickly, just last 20 seconds here, Jared. Thoughts on David Ortiz Jr. signing with the Texas Rangers yesterday?
Yeah, the Rangers, I think, have all the kids now. They got Ortiz Jr., they got Vladdy Jr.'s little brother. They got a few other guys who are sons or bloodlines of major leaguers. I asked some folks about him, and they said that, taking a flyer, I mean, he's 17 years old. He's not, on this course of becoming the top prospect in the system in the next couple of years. But, Fernando Tatis wasn't that guy, when he first signed with the White Sox years ago. I think there's just a lot of thought that, hey, there's potential here. There's a flyer. It's not really that big of a financial commitment when you take away the scholarship, the academic part of it. And who knows? But David Ortiz obviously has a great track record, and if they can get any part of that to carry over into Big Papi Jr., then it could be a good signing years from now.
Thanks, Sam, man. Have fun at the White House.
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
Jared Sandler, Rangers Insider, 105.3 The Fan. Let's head back out to Oxnard. Next, Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com, joins the show on The Fan.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean, like, your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean, like, this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
Here on 105.3 The Fan segment here brought to you by Cars for Kids. Donate today at carsforkids.org, and also brought to you by the personal injury lawyers Frankel and Frankel. If you have been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first, 214 or 817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there is never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Big shout out to Waterburger during the break for their 74th birthday. Again, if you have the app and you're a rewards member, you get a free birthday cake, birthday shake.
And if you're not a rewards member,
become one.
Just sign up.
Sign up and you get the free shake.
You get one of these.
These free birthday cake, birthday shakes. They are unbelievable. Don't believe they're on the soda diet, but doesn't matter.
And we got to meet Waterburger Man.
No, what a guy.
What a guy.
What a
he
guy.
is what a guy.
He is what a guy. We saw him make a putt. He's pretty cool. He's staring at me, though, and it's freaking me out.
I like him, man.
He's staring right at me. I think he's looking at me. I can't really tell. He's in his mascot costume, so
he's in his bag.
He is. Let's get out to Oxnard, California, and be joined by Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. I trust you have recovered from the Jerry party.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was bouncing back yesterday morning. We're ready to roll.
Now, did you do what Ruben did last year, and that is order a 1942 and ruin it with Sprite?
No, I didn't go that hard.
No, he doesn't do that. Did you? So you didn't need like just a like IV or anything like that. You're ready to bounce back. You're just built different, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, bounced back rather quickly. I was one of the DDs, so we made it work. It was solid.
Look at that. On top of it. All right, so we got the joint practice today, Nick. This feels like real football. Like, I know every time, like, we get these levels, right? Like, we get OTAs in minicamp, and you're like, ooh, it kind of feels like football. And then you get out to training camp, it's like, this feels more like it. And then the padded practices. This is like the pinnacle of it before we get to regular season football. A joint practice today with the Los Angeles Rams. Any expectations, any particular position groups or guys that you're going to be looking at at this practice today where you're like, hey, I really want to see him show up or do this or that in this practice with the Rams today?
Yeah, definitely a ramp up of intensity. I would have to say that's one of my expectations. How do certain young players carry that? How do they respond to that? And I'm looking specifically in the trenches, both on the offensive line and the defensive line. Obviously, some guys that are going to have to step up in some different areas in both departments going into the season. So today's a really big opportunity for them to do that. We can start on the Cowboys offensive line. I mean, they're going up against guys like Jared Verse, who we loved coming out of the draft process. We could also look at Kobe Turner down in the interior as well. So there's going to be some guys that I think this offensive line will be able to, maybe have some challenges with. And you flip to the other side, the defensive line. Now the Rams offensive line is getting decimated with injuries early on at camp, but they still have Steve Avila, Kevin Dotson. So those are going to be some interesting guys there in the interior going up against Mozzie Smith, Osa Digizua. I just want to see how those guys in the trenches respond. I think that's the biggest thing going into it.
So what is the structure of these joint practices?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I think we're gonna kind of see that as time goes on today. And Mike McCarthy and Sean McVay have been spending a lot of time going all the way back to April, May, trying to schedule out how they want today to go, how coordinated and orchestrated they want today to go. From my understanding, obviously they have the two fields here out in Oxnard. You'll see Cowboys offense versus Rams defense on one field, Rams offense versus Cowboys defense on the other field. They'll be rotating in 2s and 3s and things of that nature, and it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be action on both fields at the same time all day long, so any fans that maybe pay for the VIP experience over on the tent, they're going to get their money's worth today.
Nick, when we talk about, and we're talking with Nick Harris here from DallasCowboys.com on Sean and RJ, when we talk about the ramp-up period, like in terms of intensity and the way that the program works, the offseason program, is there someone, I know we just talked about guys that you're interested to see how they go. Is there anybody that this is the final test for you to feel like, all right, I'm feeling confident this guy, like a Jalen Tolbert? Do you feel like, hey, Jalen Tolbert has checked every box along the way. This is the last one before we get to regular season games that'll tell me he's ready to go and he's ready to take that step that people have been waiting on for the last couple of years?
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert's a really good one. Trying to think of some other guys. You look at DeMarvion Overshown and just how all over the place that he's, in a good way, he's been at training camp. Now I want to see him apply that against a different team. And I still think he is limited in some ways because his reps are slowly increasing as time goes on. So it's not like he's going to be on the field all day today, but when he is, really excited to see those reps. And then I'm also looking at Jordan Lewis. Man, he's had a fantastic camp. I want to see him go up against Cooper Kupp. How can he be able to account for Kupp coming out of the slot, or maybe some different work that Kupp might be doing as well? Really excited to see what he can put together. And then Trayvon Diggs, do they incorporate him at all today? That's going to be a big question of mine too. But yeah, I think Jalen Tolbert's probably the biggest one to your point, Bobby, just because, like you said, he's had such a great camp. He's pretty much stamped himself as that wide receiver 3. But how can he look against these guys that he'll be facing up against, whether it be a Tre'Davious White or a going up even in the slot against guys who could be stepping up? I think there's going to be some interesting opportunities for him today.
How big are the next 4 days overall for Trey Lance and what this team views him as?
Massive. And we were able to talk to quarterbacks coach Scott Tolzien about that yesterday. And one of the questions I had is, how important is what happens today and what he maybe needs to learn from today and then apply on Sunday? How big of that is, kind of telling towards his journey? And he's like, yeah, that's part of this joint practice, coming in today, learning where things are going wrong, and then try to apply that on Sunday. And that quick turnaround time, that's something you need at the quarterback position. So whether he has a good day today or a bad day today, can he turn around and have a good day at SoFi on Sunday afternoon? That's going to be really big for him and his development.
You had mentioned Diggs. What have you been able to see from him in terms of, like, because I know he hasn't done a ton of stuff, and you said they might work him in and how they work him in, but like, have you been able to get any kind of an idea of how he looks and how his speed and how his trust in the knee has been?
Yeah, it's a little tough right now just because he's gotten such limited reps. I don't think we'll be able to truly see how much he trusts his his health until he gets in a padded game and he gets in a game environment. But from the few reps we were able to see, what was that on Tuesday? He was going full speed to the fact that they had to pull him back out and be like, all right, well, you got your pass breakup. Now let's go back and work on the chords with Burt Brown a little bit more. So yeah. I think slowly as camp gets going and we look up probably after the Vegas game and he's taking more 7-on-7 reps and more team reps, we'll probably be able to answer that question a little bit better. But from the 4 or 5 reps that he took that I was able to see on Tuesday, he was trying to go full speed and he was trying to make sure Dak knew that he was on the field.
Nick Harris from DallasCowboys.com joining us here on 105 through the Fan. Okay, Nick, we saw there was the couple of free agent signings that they made the other day at linebacker and defensive tackle. We were reading an article earlier today from ESPN talking about, potential trade options, and they had matched the Cowboys up with the 49ers in a trade for a running back. Forgetting specifics of players because I know there are boundaries for y'all working for the team, but have you looked at the running back position during this training camp so far and said, all right, it's looking a little better than I thought, or do you think there are people there saying, yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye out on the waiver wire and potentially find some bodies here?
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to have to keep an eye out and see who's available potentially after camp, whether that be via trade or on the waiver wire. I just feel like they have 3 RB2s right now, and it's they need an established RB1 in this type of offense. They need a guy that can carry the ball down the field, take time off the clock. I mean, you look early in the schedule and you look at the teams that they have to go up against before the bye week. We're talking Ravens, Browns, Lions, 49ers right out of the bye week. They need to win the time of possession battle in those games, and they need a guy who can take the ball 18, 20, 22 times a game and be able to get you productive yards, whether that be 4 yards per carry or whatnot. So I don't feel like that guy's in the building right now. I do feel like they have a guy who could work in the red zone. I think that's one thing that they maybe didn't have last year that they have a little bit more of this year, and a presence like Ezekiel Elliott or a Royce Freeman, just to be able to trust a little bit more on the goal line. But they need a guy that they can trust between the 20s too, and I just don't feel like that guy's on the roster right now.
We're going to see a lot of starters obviously out there today in these practices. Sunday, not so much. Have you gotten any sort of a vibe? I know this is always one of the things we do heading into preseason game week 1. We're trying to figure out, work the room a little bit, see which starters will actually be out there playing. Have you gotten a sense or a vibe yet of some of the potential starters that we might see on Sunday?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was trying to touch on the topic with Mike McCarthy on Tuesday and his availability, and he was like, ask me later in the week. And I was like, okay. So I think that's probably something that'll be figured out a little bit closer to after today's practice. But, some guys that I'm not expecting at all. We could look at the veterans, Dak Prescott, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, even guys like Terrence Steele. I wouldn't expect to see some of those guys, but would not be surprised to see, all the rookies that are going to get a lot of playing time going into 2024 who need these reps, whether that be Maris Luafau, Tyler Guyton if he's back and healthy from that illness. Really excited to see if he can make it onto the field today. And then you look at DeMarvion Overshown, not a rookie, but going into a second year and definitely needs those reps going in. But I think get ready for a lot of Jalen Tolbert maybe in that first quarter on Sunday. This is just me theorizing. And then, once he gets some solid reps under him, I'm sure he'll be pulled for the rest of the preseason. But look for Jalen Brooks to be, getting a heavy dosage this weekend. Look for Jalen Cropper. I think these are going to be some fun receivers that are going to have a really good opportunity going into Sunday.
Hey, Nick, we appreciate it, man.
Man, anytime. Appreciate you guys.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. This Waterburger shake is too good.
It's testing you, man.
It's testing me, man. It is testing me. I don't want to ruin the soda weight loss, but holy cow.
Look, you got time to set it back straight.
I got time.
Come on.
I got time. All right. Crosstalk with the KNC Masterpiece coming up next on 105.3. The Fans get you on over.
think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?